I mean, I don't know what the fuck the film's about.
Remember, the 5th of November.
Gunpowder, treason and plot.
Hello and welcome to 2005.
This is going to be a chaotic one.
This is just going to be me being slightly grumpy for like an hour.
I'm going to be chaotic neutral in both my defense of one thing and my attack of the other, I think, in this episode.
Shall we?
Let's dive into the honourable mentions, which we always forget. Say we. It's mostly me.
And me.
Tony, do you want to start?
Alright,
the host starts. Right?
No.
Oh, okay.
there's so many systems, Ethan, that we just never know.
Johnny's given up on me. When he doesn't want to bother with my bullshit anymore, he'll just be like, no.
I picked the 2005 film, obviously. Robots, which is a kids animated 3D CGI style film by fucking whoever knows what studio. And yeah, it's about robots, and it's funny. It has a good message about, you know, you can shine no matter what you're made of. And I honestly think like the world and characters in it are like some of the best like ever. Like, what else has done like dystopian sci-fi robo world theme other than Redline theme like as well as this? Like, fucking whole planet's just one big city, doesn't even fucking come close to robots, you know. And it's got so many like tiny jokes that just as every time I rewatch it, it's such like a big gap between the last time I rewatched it that I always notice something new. Like after recently watching 2001, I remembered that Big World, when he's powered down at some point, starts saying Daisy, Daisy, and he sings that fucking poem from 2001. I'm like, holy shit!
It's a very influential film.
Yeah, robots really is. And, oh man, it's very funny, very
likable.
likeable.
The Bioshock Infinite thing happened, where, you know, the creators of 2001 heard robots.
Exactly, and it's got a great. It's so funny. It's got a great Britney Spears music video, like in the climax of the film. Hit me, baby, one more time. I hope that's Britney Spears. I actually don't.
That is definitely Britney Spears.
And
it's not toxic though.
So many good scenes when he's gliding on all the marbles.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I specifically remember Robin Williams did one of the robots, didn't he? Do you remember that? He was the one.
I've seen robots, but I cannot remember a thing about it.
Fender or Big World?
So it wasn't Big World. Robin Williams was basically the supporting character. So, you know, as the main guy is Rodney, who visits
Rodney Copperbottom.
Rodney, I remember this film.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the spanner in his arm. Holy fuck!
I think Robin Williams is the yellow robot, but basically he's the one who's a bit kooky and a bit, you know, kind of cuckoo.
Oh. No, the yellow robot is the one that can't speak, because it's the one that has the bumblebee problem.
Oh, of course.
I can't believe Ewan McGregor is Rodney Copperbottom.
Rodney Copperbottom!
No way,
it's fucking hell!
Yeah.
Look at this all-star cast.
Robin Williams, who is he? He's
Fender.
Yeah, well remembered. Yeah.
I mean,
I remember the red one for some reason.
Yeah, he has a great line. I know this place like the back of my hand. Looks at his hand.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's that? Gets hit by a massive fuck-off hammer out of nowhere. It's great.
You know what I remember? I love the part when you actually see the city for the first time and you see it through this sort of kind of roller coaster ride.
Yes,
the
roller coaster.
I was going to say, is there some kind of like grappling line or something?
Yeah,
he's in like this metal
it is
ball,
Bioshock Infinite, but better.
For some reason, I don't know how I remember that. And as a kid, I always remember just associating that with like the thing in Monsters Inc. You know.
But we all know that making the baby is the best part.
Yeah. No, one of the best lines that I like. I unlock lines as I like grow mentally from a fucking child when I watch this. There's one joke that's incredible where Big World, he's isolated himself from the world and he just spends all his time like collecting dominoes and he's stacking them up, and he opens the door and sees Rodney Copperbottom and he says, "Oh, I thought you were the Domino's delivery guy." And it's like, who fuck? So many levels.
It's a great domino montage, better than other things.
Man, I could just keep going. I could just keep going through jokes in this film and being like, "This is so good."
Well,
But,
I don't know how. I have
save
literally
all that passion.
no way to segue to my one, which is the next honorable mention, because like it's the biggest tonal shift from the upbeat and like brilliant memories of robots, I have the trauma of having played Shadow of the Colossus, which I kind of like. I don't want to really talk about because it's. I think pretty much like anything, even like images of the game, are kind of like a spoiler because like just experiencing everything firsthand is so good. So I'll very briefly, like, the game starts and you're like an unnamed boy and you bring a girl to this kind of like this great large well, and like a voice tells you that you can bring her back if you defeat the colossi, I guess, colossuses, and that's what you do. You just have to, like, it's just you and your horse in this like horrible place. But I mean, it's dark, it's dreary, it's huge, it's empty. But there's a beauty to it. It's peaceful, and suddenly you encounter the first of these colossi, and after a while, maybe you start to question why you're doing it. You know, are you the good guy? What's going on in this place? And that's all I'll really say. It's really good. You should play it. There's a remaster of it in 2018 for PS4. You can play the another remaster for it for PS3. You can play the OG version on PS2.
Harry, I know it's good, but why isn't there an option to walk away?
There is. It's called not playing the game.
One thing I know about it is you kill big things, and maybe you shouldn't be killing the big things. Those are like the two things I know about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that great thing of like it realized, like, Team IQ are very good at this. They kind of realized that like playing the game is a choice in itself. It's like the idea of giving the player control immediately kind of like question, like, you call it to question. You don't need the fucking telltale like, will you do this or this? Just even like playing it and making decisions to like follow out what the game's telling you to do and following orders kind of is a decision in itself. So it doesn't break the fourth wall too much, but it does interrogate the player and their motivations, and like it draws interesting like kind of questions about like video games and power fantasies and why we do the things we do, but not in a Bioshock way. Spoiler for Bioshock. Anyway, that's about all I've got to say because I don't really want to spoil it too much.
Yeah, alright, so from the dark world of Shadow of the Colossus to the dark world of Sin City. This was... I'd say it's the first Tarantino-esque film I saw, because it's not Tarantino, but he was involved in it, and you can tell that with the style. But I don't know, it's stuck with me. I love the black and white style and the use of colour and this sort of gritty world that is shown through. Is like three stories, four
stories.
Well, there's like that one like 2-minute one that's like.
But that's just the past of Bruce Willis's story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got the one that's about the prostitute ring that I think Clive Owen kills a cop, doesn't realize it's a cop, and then the rest of the police force come and just try and destroy and try and get him. So he, hires a bunch of prostitutes and they all kind of gang up on the police. Yeah. And that's the second one, I think. The first one's about, I don't want to step on your toes or anything, but the first one I think is Mickey Rourke, and there's a woman who's died and he's trying to figure out who's responsible, so he's going all over the city trying to track down the killer.
Yes, and then there's the cop on like his last, well, not quite his last day, but
one last job.
Yeah, he's 1 week from retirement.
But it's Bruce Willis as well. Cop, yeah, really good.
Oh man,
30 seconds from retirement. I've just got to cash this check. Get shot.
It's got some, good quotable lines. I removed his weapons, both of them, and it is sort of just an action film basically, but it's in such an interesting world that.
It is, and its use of colour, as you previously mentioned, is fantastic. It
is
mostly black
like
and white, but there is the other thing that's in red, and there's the monster who kidnaps Jessica Alba, and he's this. He looks like a fucking alien. He just doesn't look human. He's yellow. He's got a monstrous big head. It's very actually quite.
That's Elijah Wood, isn't it?
Elijah
Wood's the one who we see as a silhouette throughout most of the film, don't we? Yeah.
Elijah Wood is so damn creepy in this.
Yeah.
After Lord of the Rings, where his blue eyes are kind of this homely thing. In it, does he actually ever take off his glasses? I think there is a shot where he might, but he's...
Yeah, I think I seem to remember. He's pretty much black, but you can just see his eyes. They're white, aren't they?
He's got sort of circular glasses that are just white, and he is just so creepy in it because he just doesn't say a word and is just there. Yeah,
he's just in the shadows, isn't he? Pretty much half of him. It is quite terrifying, actually.
I've never seen Sin City, but I feel like it's part of the strength is probably due to the fact that it's co-directed and written by the author of the novels. I feel like that's just. I mean, when you when the writer of the source material is on board, you know, they can help adapt for a modern audience.
You know what else is going to have that? Something with a budget on par of your name.
No, I won't have it. I can't do it. I'm trying to do the V sign.
Harry, that's the obvious way.
Damn it. I was just doing a W.
So, shall I talk about my honourable mention as
Go
well?
on, man.
Yeah.
So, I've picked a David Cronenberg film called A History of Violence. It stars Viggo Mortensen, and it's, funny enough, based on a graphic novel
Oh fuck, I do know this.
by John Wagner and Vince Locke. And it's got a really interesting story. Basically, it's about this guy he's quite a shimid. Shimid? God fucking hell. That was a combination of shy and timid, and I don't know why I said shimid, but he's shy and he's quite a modest, ordinary fella. And he owns a cafe, and one day these two men come rolling through the town. The town's in the middle of nowhere, it's quite isolated. And the two men try and they try and stick up the cafe. And Viggo Mortensen very skillfully and in a way that's quite extraordinary kills them both with and anyway, so he becomes quite this public figure of the town. Everyone kind of worships him because they don't have that much crime, and he did this with such skill and ease. And so all the local news broadcasters are kind of talking about him. And then one day he attracts some attention outside of town because these two men were part of who he killed in his cafe were part of some organised crime-esque sort of thing. So Ed Harris comes into town and he starts harassing Viggo Mortensen and his family a little bit. And I'm not going to tell you any more because that's kind of like the rest of the film, what happens after that. But basically Viggo Mortensen is going to spend the rest of the film trying to keep his family away from Ed Harris, because you find out that he has this past because he didn't the way he dealt with the two men in the cafe wasn't chance, it wasn't completely random. He did do it like he knew exactly what he was doing and how he killed them. It was with such skill. So he's got to confront his past, that sort of thing. And it's a really interesting film. As you'd expect with David Cronenberg, it does have kind of a weird, bizarre sort of feel to it. I mean, he did The Fly as well. I think that's probably his most famous film. He's a bit like David Lynch in that respect. So it is kind of uncomfortable and unsettling at times. But it's a really interesting film. I suggest you watch it. And Viggo Mortensen, again, as he does in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in, gives a great performance. I mean, we all know him from the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah, I don't even know him from anything else. It's
No.
weird seeing him clean shaven with short hair.
Yes.
The pictures.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's just quite a clean, tidy man. He's got his own family. He's an ordinary man, except he isn't, and that's kind of the thing. So yeah, it's a really good film, I think.
Nice. I kind of want to see this now. That's the problem with doing media. I'm just like, I want to see all these things,
You want to see everything except
We should do it.
the one you went to see.
I mean, your TV roundup is something I kind of want to see, but I don't know.
What is it you put, John?
So for my TV roundup, it's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The film.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the film and I'm like, I don't want to see the source material.
Well, it's the 13th best TV show according to IMDb. It's the highest ranked anime, if you count it as an anime, which I do.
Tony is very
that
nice.
debate has been done to death.
Yeah, I mean,
animated by.
So why wouldn't it be considered
Quotation
anime?
marks.
I mean, it is. Is it Japanese or is it
The
American?
big
It's American.
arguments are it's not produced in Japan and it's not produced for Japanese audiences. So I guess I don't know. But anime who cares?
I find that it's like how, I don't know, like Camembert, you can only make
Like
it in a
champagne,
certain region of
yeah.
France. Or it just
That's
seems
more
so-
champagne though. Champagne
Yeah,
is only from
yeah.
a specific
Champagne
region
is
of France, and if it's anywhere else, then it's just called sparkling.
Yeah,
wine.
but it's
not
just
allowed
like that with
type.
like
Yeah,
food
it is.
things.
It is
that's-
pretty. It's dumb.
It's got
the whole
all-
argument.
it's got
Yeah,
all
of
the-
I'm
it.
definitely factoring on the side of it's an anime.
Yeah, it's got all the ingredients. It's got all the things there. It's just not made in the right area, and that just seems a bullshit.
Sounds like a little bit of racism to me.
Yeah. Champagne.
Wow, it
God.
sounds like just death outside.
So you've never been over the flight path of an aeroplane before, John?
I have, but not whilst hearing through a recording
Oh,
device.
fair enough.
It's because we're in
Senses are so in tune.
a dystopian future. We're being monitored by the government. Here.
Alright, but let's talk about it then. Because it's actually good.
Yeah,
Despite whatever you fucking call it.
Yeah, it's what's amazing about it really is that it's a children's show, and yet it manages to do so much with it. So I think, especially with children's shows, you find that there's no real like through narrative. It's just for you to like dip in for a few episodes and then you can leave and then come back and experience it new. But what really, I think Avatar's main strong point is the way the characters develop through it. So you start out with one of them, they're a waterbender, but literally basically they struggle just to like put up a drop in the air, and then you get to see as they go on, they get more confident, they get to do more, and then you can see how by the end they're basically just a master at it and all these other things, and that happens with every character. You see how they change going through, and it does well. They're likable characters, so you like them very early on and then care when they get put into these situations, even though, because it's a children's thing, then there isn't too much danger really, but there's enough that makes it feel real, and you do care for the situations they're in. And it's very impressive what it manages to do without having to have characters die, how it can actually, I don't know, the story it manages to tell, the threats it manages to put up. And I saw it ages ago, but there are still like details and designs that stick in my head. There are these like special cop type things who have these weird sort of gauntlet things made out of earth that they use to like drag people into the shadows. And that is that's something that has stuck with me with the design and the way it's used. It is kind of it's very well done. It's very funny at the moments. It has to be. I've been rambling for quite a bit without really direction to go in. Does anyone got anything to say?
I mean, I've seen like bits and pieces of it because it was on like Cartoon Network when not Anime Network when I was a kid, and yeah, I would love to go back to it and watch it all in one go, because I think the big strength of anime things is that they can tell these long running like stories that actually do change and like have a point to them, rather than just being like sort of one-off things that make sense in any order. And yeah, the bits that have stuck out of the world, the water, earth, air, fire nation, all iconic.
It's just it's such a well put together idea of magic, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's spiritualism, and it all interacts, and it feels right. It feels like a believable world. It doesn't feel like just a few people went, right, we're going to make a children's show. Fuck it, they can do fire. It's like,
yeah, on par with something like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is something I'd say. Like the approach to like a well constructed, like long running story that takes a sort of fantasy twist on something, but also is unique in its own way. Like a lot of like the fights are definitely really interesting. How it's not just like bullshit magic, it follows like a sort of like martial arts sort of style. It's really good. And of course the my cabbages, the recurring joke is great. And also there's that weird big sky dog thing that that guy, that him.
There's a sky bison, Tony. It's a sky bison.
Obviously. Great.
Even the animals are well characterized. There are two that they go around with, and they are also just characters as well. Basically, it's
The way you talk about it being a cartoon where each episode the characters where each character is developed further sounds like it would be one of a kind for a show on Cartoon Network, which is basically just shows. A lot of them quite good, but ones where it's got the sitcom of approach of, you know, you do an episode and at the end of the episode characters have learned from their mistakes, but then they kind of hit the reset button by the time the second episode comes around, and they just don't really grow ever. Although obviously there are sitcoms that have, you know, not done that. Something like Seinfeld, for example, has gone on to, you know, learn from its mistakes.
This never feels like it hits a reset button at the end of the thing. The way it often changes things up is because they're Aang is the Avatar. He's been stuck in this ball of ice for like I think 100 years, and what he has to do is he has to bring balance to all the magic stuff, and so his first thing he has to do is learn all the different types of magic. That's the special thing about the Avatar. They can learn fire, water, air and earth, whereas
does he have a
everyone
smartphone as well?
So all the attributes.
Does he have slip?
Oh, don't even fucking put that in the same breath as this.
Yeah. Whereas, everyone else can only learn one, and that's not that common to know one particularly either.
I'm sorry to say that I've seen pictures of this, but the only thing I've seen associated with this is the M. Night Shyamalan film.
Didn't Shyamalan make the film?
Yeah, he did.
Jesus
Last
Christ, I
Airbender,
didn't
it was
know
his.
that.
That's why it was so god awful.
Yeah, I've not seen the film. I'm not going near the
Don't
film.
it would be like Death Note.
I've seen the film Avatar. I haven't seen the film The Last Airbender. I'm guessing this is like a collaboration. I'm guessing Jake Sully and M. Night Shyamalan are gonna chill out, with the Na'vi.
But yeah, one of the examples of it being like the thing going throughout, one of the big things is Aang struggles with learning fire, and that's something like addressed early on. Is he goes to a tutor to teach him fire, and then he mucks it up, and then that is something that sticks with him, and is especially brought back when he then has to learn fire again. But yeah, things that happen in previous episodes matter in the later ones, and there's like never a moment of, oh yes, I've learnt to be nice to my friends. It never feels preachy and like that sort of thing where it's, if only we had friendship. No, it's there are proper solutions to that.
Where is it set though? Is it set in Japan?
It's set in like a fictional
world where you've got 4 nations, so the Earth Nation, the Water Nation, the Fire Nation, and then the Air Nomads.
It's just a
But
video.
they're all like dead. But yeah, and so basically the Fire Nation, which has sort of
Did everything
steampunk
change?
Yeah, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. They used their higher technology because they have like steam power, because they like manipulate flame and stuff. So they have the best technology, and they're using it to take over the world. And then it's up to our unlikely bunch of heroes to stop them. And so a lot of it is them travelling the world looking for these people to train Aang. So you have it does good at setting up the world and exploring it, and they'll have a few episodes where they're in this village, and then a few when they're now walking up to the next place, and all of that. Yeah, so it's
Remind me again, Johnny. When did this first air? The show?
2004 was when the pilot came out.
Oh!
Jesus, I was not expecting.
No,
that.
sorry, 2003 was when the first pilot came out, but it's I've read about it. Apparently, it isn't like the rest of it, which first aired 2005.
Gotcha.
Got caught out there.
Yeah, I know.
Right, should we move on?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, go on.
Right, so the game I picked is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the good one. So it's a first/third person shooter, though when I played it I wasn't aware of a way to play it in first person. So in my mind it's just a third person shooter.
Yeah, I've had 2 lives with this game. One is the third, one is the first person shooter. So at the moment it's currently a first person shooter in my mind, but as a kid it was always third person.
Yeah, it feels more third person to me, especially because if you are first person, then it boots you into third when you're a hero or something else, even if you're like Boba Fett with the gun. So.
Yeah.
Well, I played Boba Fett as first person.
Oh,
I think
I'm incorrect then.
Yeah, but like the Jedi, you're not first person.
Yeah, not first person, Jedi. Developed by Pandemic Studios, and well, it's a sequel, has more things than the first.
God, it does.
Yeah, wait, I was going to ask you, where did the first game come out at?
I think it was 2004. It literally was like a year later, and it was
like
the first.
Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, but the first game was literally just like a tech demo. It had nothing compared to this one.
So was this released like shortly after Revenge of the Sith then?
This coincided with the release of Revenge of the Sith, which makes it doubly impressive, to be honest. Yeah, it's pretty fun, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got campaign, galactic conquest, and instant action.
Multiplayer as well. If you had the PS2 adapter, or if you're as EA have done now, because they're like, everyone hates our Star Wars Battlefront 2, we're just going to reboot the servers on PC for the old version, so you can play online now.
Yeah. But yes, so the campaign, I like the campaign and the direction it's done in. It's from a clone in the 501st and how things change from like the end of the Clone Wars deep into Imperial rule. And it's nice, fills in a lot of the gaps that were canon at the time and since are now legends.
Yeah, it's definitely, for the time it came out, I feel like the story stuff's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll get into that a bit more.
Yes. This is definitely a game of my childhood. I had it on the PlayStation 2. Played it again recently on the PlayStation 2, and the graphics are terrible on there. It's so slow. To be fair, my PS2 is like breaking, so it might not be the game. But yeah, so many memories of it. Playing with my brother, him being older and better than me. I think the reason why I'm such a calm person now is because I got all my anger out on this game. Literally, my brother with
That was your you thought you were trapped in a facility, so you had to let go of your fear of death.
That was definitely it. But yeah, he used to, on the Mos Eisley assault, he would just force push me against a wall repeatedly. Because he'd played it more, he had all the better guns already unlocked, so I was like basically trying to kill him with a chisel.
Did he even give you a chance at this game?
Yes, he did. In fairness to him, probably yes. But I was young, angry, and not as good as him. But yeah, no, it's a game of my childhood, and even though it's like, I don't know, I guess the anger's at my brother rather than the game itself. But yeah, I love the game. It's just one of the better, just fight and shoot things.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I've got a very similar experience to you. I mean, I had the game on the PS2 for years before I kind of made the jump up to the Xbox 360, and so I think. Especially from my perspective, I don't know about you guys, this is going to be very similar to my review of Call of Duty 4, where I'm going to be like, it's a game I've played the shit out of, and the best thing is not the thing we've experienced. For as good as the campaign is, I like the campaign in this, not as much as the COD 4 one, but I do like this campaign. It essentially acts as a tutorial for like the rest of the game. It's got a nice little narrative. I like Tamora Morrison's narration, even though he delivers some fucking terrible lines of dialogue. But the main attraction here is just the scale of it, the gameplay, the maps, the class system, Galactic Conquest, which is so good. I could just I always get the itch to go back to Galactic Conquest. See, I picked the game up on PC a couple of years ago, and I normally play it for about 10 hours, maybe 5 hours, every few months. I just kind of, it's one of those games I have the itch for.
Yeah. It's what I can't uninstall it from my laptop now. It's just like I'll be there. What do I feel like playing? I really need to finish this game. I need to play more than the first 5 minutes of. No, I'll just do a bit of Star Wars Battlefront.
Exactly, it's so good. I mean, from modern standards, as a first-person shooter, does it hold up? I don't know. I mean, I feel like some of the vehicle stuff's pretty good. Some of the classes are way more balanced than the others. The heroes are still fun to play, you know. But is the AI good? No. Does it matter? Not really, because it's kind of, the prequels are just video games. You watch these endless 2 CG armies kill each other in a pointless war. This video game is like the payoff to that. George Lucas is wanted, especially back in the day when he still had full creative control of LucasArts. He had input to the games. He wanted them to be like this whole collective experience. And I feel like this is, I feel like this makes it great. The fact that it came out the same year as Revenge of the Sith, and it has all these maps and the music from the films, and especially as the campaign covers Episode 3 and how it transitions into the original trilogy in a way that probably isn't as good as Rogue One, but it's still pretty good. I really like it.
Yeah. Have you guys got anything to say?
So me and Ethan, we're the newcomers to this. We don't have those rose-tinted glasses.
No, we don't.
To cloud our harsh judgment.
We also don't have the nostalgia, do we, that those two have.
But that being said, I don't think it's not like we're going to hate it, right? It does a pretty good job of being probably one of the only games that captures a large-scale combat in this way, of the fact that it is also a game about spaceships fighting, and then you dock on the ships and do the same thing that you would do if you were just on the ground, fighting in the trenches or whatever, the space trenches. So I think it is this, hearing from what Harry said of it being a tech demo originally from Star Wars Battlefront, in brackets 1, to leading to the sequel. I think that is, I can see that it is a core base that is good, but they have just been found ways to just present it in different ways, rather than doing anything super like interesting with the base system of the war itself. Because I did like the campaign, even though I didn't finish it in time, but I don't feel that just doing the same things that I had been doing up until that point with different looking maps would have changed my experience that much. And I think, that being said, this does sound like a criticism. It's a criticism that I have of a lot of games, and this game does do a lot to mitigate it, especially in the early section. If you think like, oh, I'm just going to be following the yellow objective, like the game for me was a mission that boots up with some narration from this guy that I don't know, and he would be like, we have to steal the fucking generator, and then it'd start the game and there'd be a screen that comes up that is like, you need to go to this point and steal the generator, and I'd exit out of that, and on my map would be a pointer that told me to go where the generator was. Like, okay, I get it, I've heard it 3 times now.
Yeah.
And that being said, like, the missions have, I want to say, like 4 or 5 objectives within them that you have to complete, and I think they do a decent job of like spicing it up. Like, some of the missions are more focused on defense. One that sticks out is one where you have to defend an AT-AT. I think there's like a walker from these weird monster things. There's one that's stuck in my mind of being a bit bullshit, but when the first time I experienced it, I was like, oh, this is genuinely like interesting. It's sort of changed the way I approach it, where it was you have to go into the Jedi archives and stop the
It's so hard.
It was so hard, and I was like, oh man, it was like interesting, and then I died on it like 4 times. I'm like, I'm just gonna hide in the corner and use the engineer tool to keep a bookcase alive.
I was going to say, if the game's objective was for you to empathise with the characters that you play at, it succeeds, because I fucking hate the Jedi in that game. They are so bloody irritating. They're so more OP than you. They just chuck their lightsaber.
I do love the terror of that mission where you're just like, oh my god, I've got to turn a corner.
Yeah, it does well to kind of invoke that, just like you're playing as one of the fucking like battle droids in Star Wars films, just getting sliced. You know, like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, but
you're just some guy.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's like
the 501st, you're an elite squadron.
Oh,
the men of the 501st.
Right, so personally, I'll say straight away, as I've already previously mentioned, that I don't have the history with this game that you two have, and I think that's quite an influential factor. Secondly, it's a fun game, don't get me wrong. I had a really good time playing it, but at the same time, I like to play video games as someone who prefers films to video games and tries to have that sort of mindset with them. So if you forget the fact that there's no character development, convincing dialogue, it's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
And those things kind of they do bug me a little bit, and it means I'll probably be a lot harsher than I should. But I just
Well, don't you feel like the narrative is the films, and this kind of interweaves the films in an interesting way?
Yeah, I don't feel like you go with the characters.
It's basing off the prequels, which is not a strong base.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of the point. Like you're like one of the mindless drones who kind of does all the things building up to the kind of the films.
Yeah. I guess that what I would have preferred is something. I don't know video games as well as you guys, so I'm probably completely wrong with this. And I'm sure the gameplay is original in its sense, but the storyline isn't, and that's what I don't like. I'd much rather play Clone Wars missions or play events that I haven't seen in the films, rather than just a couple of seconds here and there, but a whole level or full scenes of the films here and there. Because I've just watched I've watched the films. I know that. I'd much rather. I liked the Ada Sakura one because that's like 2 seconds in the film, and I would have liked to have seen a whole mission around that. It's a fantastic planet, it's a great world, I really like looking at it. Those beasts, as terrifying as they fucking are, they are very cool.
God.
Yeah, exactly.
They're very powerful.
It's the same with the Kiadimundi, I mean...
Oh, fucking Kiadimundi. Alright.
Yeah, that mission, I'll agree with you.
Are you going to mention the really obvious plot hole of, like, we had to keep it secret from them, but you carry the plans as Kiadimundi?
No, that's not my problem. The problem is that Star Wars is good, right? That's obvious. And the thing is that Star Wars is good because it was iconic in its own right. That it presented like its world and its characters in a way that was so strong in and of itself. This just feels like, hey, we've just like, hey, you like Star Wars, right? Here's some Star Wars things. It doesn't feel like it's sort of.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's built on them. It doesn't feel like it's sort of selling them in their own right. It's just sort of relying on the name of those ideas.
I think it does though, because this is your first look of this was your first look at what happened between the prequels and the originals.
Also,
and
like,
again, it's from the point of view of a clone becoming a part of the Imperial. That's nothing you've seen before. There are some great moments of, I'm so glad we were wearing masks that day, I couldn't look her in the eye. It's this sort of...
That's the best line.
Yeah, we know we're going to kill these people, and...
But even then, all the missions that you're playing, there aren't any new planets. You will just go to that moon base. I mean, it's just from Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? So it's not really it's not really
that's
bridging
kind of
the
like
gap
the
in
point.
the way that I
That's
think
kind of like the point there, because there are Star Wars games which tell singular narratives in the world that aren't connected to the films. But that's not what this is. This came out. This is a multiplayer game largely that came out in 2005, the same year as Revenge of the Sith, and it's got most of the music is from Revenge of the Sith, most of the maps from Revenge of the Sith, most of the aesthetics from it's I see that as a companion piece to that film.
Yeah,
and it's almost like it makes the kind of if you're looking for this for like a narrative perspective, you're not going to get it. I feel like the star attraction here is definitely like how it invokes Star Wars, and using that as a criticism against it. I mean, it's valid if that's how you feel, but I feel like that's the core strength of the game is how suddenly you'll play as a hero, and then a piece of John Williams music will start playing, and you're like I actually feel like I am Obi-Wan Kenobi surrounded by an army.
He is right. This game was certainly made for people who love Star Wars films and want to be a part of them actively. So you get an interactive
as a kid.
game. Yeah.
That's great.
I think
exactly, and unfortunately, I'd rather play something that, if it's in the Star Wars universe, I don't mind, but something a bit more different, a bit more unique in some respects, rather than just going back and playing stuff from the films.
You're playing different things. Like I mean, the most interesting mission. I know it's annoying because everyone looks the same, but you are an army of stormtroopers sent to exterminate the remaining clone army, led by Boba Fett, who's essentially killing clones of his father. That is fucking weird. And it's definitely unique and interesting.
When do I get paid?
So getting rid of the clones and getting rid of the last of the separatists, those are two things that are not addressed at all in the world.
It's not like you're doing the trench run. It's not like this is you're not literally doing the films. I feel like there's a lot of missions. Yeah, there's a lot of... Well, that's why the final mission is so great, because like I hadn't played the campaign. Even though I had played this game as a kid, I was never good enough to do the campaign. But like doing Hoth was so much fun. Like I just like going in those walkers and like being like, actually, I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm just going to shoot these things flying around me, you know, and winning as the Imperials. Spoilers.
I mean,
was pretty great.
Yes. No, go on.
It's just alright. I think I said it as phrasing it as a criticism, but there are moments where it definitely pays off and moments where it definitely doesn't. Like I started the game and I was fucking what's his name, Samuel L. Jackson, the monk. That guy.
Windu.
Yeah. And I was just like shooting these robot dudes, and I threw my lightsaber, and on the way back, it like decapitated a fucking random droid that I hadn't even aimed at. And I was like, that was fucking cool. And like the music was playing, like, yeah, this is like capturing it. This is like capturing it, like the essence of it,
which they've never done since in any video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in the new films, I feel like they're their own thing, and that's good. But even the one which was literally just a fucking remake of the original Star Wars fails to kind of capture it in the way that this does.
But then it's the same time on Mustafar, these random fucking mosquito fat aliens come down. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I know it comes from me like being a sort of I don't know. I feel like I actually don't. I'm not that much of a Star Wars fan, so maybe it might be a bit harsh for me to come down on like certain things. Like Cody Mundy's just lame. Like I don't like him. Like these fat aliens that I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's not like you have like these like 20-minute dialogue scenes. It's literally it's like before the missions, which are essentially just quick plays, but with a few objectives which force you to play the game in different ways. It's just Tamura Morrison, who does good voice work, even though they fucking like went back and dubbed Boba Fett's lines from Empire. That's dumb. It's essentially him just narrating over in-game engine clips that they obviously cobbled together at the last minute, and it manages to work. I like its minimalist approach. There is a narrative. It's not very strong, but because like that bit is dumb, it's not like you have to spend a 20-minute unskippable cutscene of like we have to eliminate the separatist bug leaders, and then you have to watch a fucking pod race to justify it. It's not like that.
All right, it does do a good job of I don't know. I feel like the fact that it's attached to the prequels is like a weight that it does. It is like minimizing.
It's attached.
Than...
It's attached to the best prequel though. It starts. I mean, there's a reason that the tutorial is Attack of the Clones, because you start with straight away Revenge of the Sith. The first game didn't have a campaign, but does have kind of like battle stories. Because I remember doing the fucking dumb battle from the Phantom Menace where you play as the Gungans and going, "This is the worst. This is the worst thing."
The Gungans.
Yeah,
That's in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
But he is
As
right.
in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the 2017 one. Which, by the way, I hate the fact that they have the same name.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Star Wars
a soulless cash grab.
But anyway, I agree with Tony. I think on a separate note, this game is built for Star Wars fans, lovers of Star Wars, and I feel like it should just have more of a general, wider scope than that. And don't get me wrong, I really love Star Wars, but it didn't do the things for me that it did with you, I'm afraid. And I know you're talking about there's the odd thing here and there that isn't in the films, and yeah, okay, right, that's good. But I want to explore more of that universe. I want to see more planets. More atmospheres and that kind of thing. I don't want to go back to Coruscant.
Oh yeah, because but in the films you spent hours on Polis Massa and Felucia. I bet you knew everything about these planets before the game.
I see enough of them to know.
You see like 10 seconds. You get to explore that environment again. You get to like hear some original music for that place. It's just great.
You get to be walking through there, which is something you don't really get at all.
Yeah, but like one of the maps in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is just a highway, and I'm like, that's what I go to Star Wars for, to see road infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that being said, we're being harsh.
Wait, what map is that?
There's just a highway in one of the fucking Wookiee maps. I'm like, great.
Oh, he's fucking right. There is a highway. You talk about the one across the water. The bridge is the two sections.
I love that. I love the Kashyyyk map.
Right.
I feel like I feel like that's one of the like really well designed ones. Just in the terms of where it spawns you, it kind of forces that push and that kind of that confrontation at the beach.
Yeah. I know that it's only 5-10 seconds in the film. Okay, that's fair enough. Firstly, I just wish there had been more. Secondly, that's only like 3 or 5 missions. Most of the missions are, large scenes in the films that I've, already watched and I know them.
Every mission kind of takes place in every map. And for you, a game came out in 2005, a year after its predecessor, which had like barely anything in it, saying that there's more maps. There's so many maps in this game for the time. And the fact that each one is kind of varied and different in its own way. And, I mean, the campaign kind of, it's not the full game. When you just load up, the game is... one, you can play either era, which you couldn't do in the 2015 Star Wars Battlefront game. So just say you're the droids, you're playing against the clones, and you spawn on one side of the map, they spawn on the other. And the aim of the game is to either get 150 kills or to capture all the command posts. And it kind of becomes this conflict like that. I mean, the campaign is kind of like I said, it's almost like a tutorial. It kind of forces you to play the game in a different way. The quick play is just playing those one-off maps, and the best game mode, which we haven't even touched upon, is Galactic Conquest, which is essentially like a big. It's all the planets in the game has available. Although depending on which era, they change one or two of them.
And it never has the Death Star.
Yep. You're a fleet. You have one fleet, and you have 2 or 3 planets, and all the other ones are enemy occupied. And like a board game, you have to go around taking planets, and at the end of each turn, depending on the amount of planets you have, depends on the amount of credits, and you can use credits to buy things like the leader bonus, which means you can play as Jedi, like garrisons. You start off with just the basic troop, but you can unlock extra troops. And like doing that as a kid, it kind of like doing it as the rebels and being like, I have like Yavin 4, and I have I don't know, I wasn't going to say Dantooine, but it's not in the game. But I have like the rebel control planets, and I'm going around and I'm taking out the Imperials. It almost feels like you're crafting your own stories. So while you might like kind of criticize the stories in the game, when I was playing this as a kid, I'm like I kind of used to imagine like even if I was doing it as the droids and like, oh, I'm trying to take Yavin, and then suddenly Darth Maul comes in and like he clears them out, and you kind of you feel like it feels like extension of those films, and they're bad films, but it's annoying because they're bad films, but a lot of people our generation who grew up and loved this game. I mean, I imagine if the Lad Bible posted like, remember this classic, it would get like 500,000 likes with just a picture of this game, because a lot of people have this nostalgic connection to it. It kind of like justified those films in a way, and it made like the pointless, weightless video game-ness of the films into a really fun video game that holds up.
That maybe I say definitely, my problems that come from like the mission structure would be 100% like way better in a sort of more open sort of sandbox style. So maybe we should go back and play Galactic Conquest.
It's really fun when you play
Yeah,
against
sure.
someone. There's like kind of
I was gonna say,
strategy
we should-
elements.
We should like arrange that so we split into teams. So me with
Two teams.
whichever one of you is the worst, Harry with the other, and then we'll like be in teams, play against each other because
That'd be quite
that would be
Yeah.
that would be
You know, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. It don't get me wrong. I really did think it was a fun game, and I had a lot of fun with it. You earlier said that you know how the mission, the level structure is. You got to go somewhere, do something, and then you got to go somewhere else, and it feels quite forced in that respect. I want to actually compare it right to a game that I quite like and I actually think is better than this, right? So you know FTL, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
smile lights up on your face. You know how FTL doesn't really have a storyline because you make the storyline. You have options.
Yeah, it has
you get
a
to choose
beginning
what you
and
want to
an
do.
end,
And with this game that doesn't have a really strong, okay, that's true. But with this game that doesn't have a really strong storyline, I feel like it should be more non-linear. You should be allowed more options. That kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's what Galactic Conquest is.
exactly.
The campaign is just that. It's a campaign. It's literally just like, this is a story we're going to tell. All the maps, try them out. It's basically, instead of like being take all the command posts however you want and like with the kind of like elimination that you have to kill 150 units and without the kind of strategy, it's literally like, capture this command post. Well done. Now take out this turret. It's giving you like the Fisher Price play style, and it was great. Space combat, which you haven't even mentioned, wasn't the first game.
Yeah.
They did it they fucking knocked space combat on the PS2 in a year, and it still holds up. Doing that and being forced to kind of like, normally the way you do it is you just get a bomber, you just bomb their ship, you bomb their core systems. You've done it easy. This one, it actually like the mission on Yavin 4. I keep mentioning Yavin 4 for some reason. Where it's a great idea. The Death Star's just been blown up, and it's just you have to get revenge. And it's the space combat mission is you just trying to kill enemy starfighters instead of you do take out their ships eventually with bombers like I normally. But being forced to do something I've never done before, which is actually like try and take out ships as a TIE fighter, it's just great. I love how
sound design as well on it.
the way the game forced me to play in a different way, and I suddenly discovered just the joys of just like old classics like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter are in this huge battlefield like first-person shooter, which is a Star Wars game. I can't believe this game exists.
And just the
So
freeness of being able to get into a ship, go, I don't feel like destroying the ships. I don't feel like bombing the exterior. I'm just going to fly into their hangar, kill a load of them, and then blow up the engines from the inside.
And even in like the open maps, like the fact that you can just get on a Tauntaun in Hoth. I mean,
As Darth
Vader is so good.
Ugh.
It's brilliant, man.
I also don't really care about the characters that much at all because of the fact that
Yeah, but
when
wait,
you
what the fuck
die,
are you
you get
talking about?
spawned in as a new one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
This isn't a narrative game.
Yeah, but
That's not a valid criticism.
No, that is valid criticism because every video game should have a
Half of-
narrative if you're going to
half
of-
care about it.
Half
I
of
mean,
the
It doesn't have
game
it, so why should I
the
care?
game
Why
is-
should I be involved in this, huh?
Because the whole thing is winning the battle for your side. Like the prequels, do you care about the clone troopers? No, but suddenly you're playing as a clone trooper. You're
And I
playing.
still don't care about
You have
them.
150 clone troopers. If they run out, you die. The whole point of like these needless CGI armies that they're just churning out for political reasons in the prequels. Anyway, like actually getting to play in those battles, you could be like, why does it matter? But like, why does Call of Duty matter? If I
Yeah,
die,
it's 'cause
I
you want-
respawn. It's a dumb game.
It's
But,
because
like,
you want to win.
it's because the game. It's because the
Yeah, but I
gameplay's
agree with
fun.
that. I think Call of Duty is not good in that respect. There just needs to be more space. More space.
Would you
more
rather-
space, more danger?
What, so you want the Call of Duty multiplayer? Every time you die, there's like a 10-minute cutscene of your family like crying. It's a video game.
I mean, to be
Exactly.
fair,
It's
And the
a video
campaign
game.
that's there is like it does a pretty poor job of it. It's just been like the 501st, which is just essentially like whoever you spawn in as. But it kind of tries to justify it in a way. It kind of it tries to tie the gameplay into some story. Even though it doesn't really make sense how you just become a stormtrooper and like
Yeah.
all the Kiwi accents just go, and suddenly you're just like normal people. But yeah.
I do see where Ethan's coming from, even though I do feel he is misplaced slightly. Like I do think like great games, like chess doesn't need like an actual literal narrative to be, but it's more the fact that it is almost harder to be engaged with it because of the way it's tried to model this Battlefront, is that it's putting you as these no fucking name shit tier scrubs against Jedi it's like, on one hand,
Yeah, but you get to play as the heroes at
Yeah,
pretty much
but-
the end of every single mission.
But when you're not playing the heroes, it is just okay. There's literally nothing I can do to kill this fucking Jedi. It's just gonna throw its lightsaber at me and I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
fucking
just
die.
to say, I didn't get killed by a Jedi. I got killed by the Jedi for the first time, and he slashed, and I just kept my distance, and he didn't throw
Yeah.
a saber once. Anyway, but the fact that like
I've taken
suddenly,
out a load of Jedis with fucking shotguns.
suddenly there's a 30, and you've got 30 guys to do
Hmm.
the next objective, and then you get to the next objective, you get 10 more. It's just like, and some missions it gets really tight. I'm going to say it again. Yavin 4 was a hard mission. I had like 3 guys holding up. I had a minute to hold up with 3 guys, and like
Yeah.
just the nerves of that. Like, I don't need like a 20-minute cutscene to tell me the backstory of these 3 guys. They're fucking clones, and me and these 3 clones, I have more of a connection to those than most characters in most films,
When it-
because
when it
I
gets-
lived through that war experience with them, and it was fucking fun.
A lot of the times when it has come down to one person, sometimes it has been I've spawned in and a Jedi has killed me from behind and I've fucking rage quitted. I've gone to play guitar. The other times I've fucking held out for the last objective and like refreshed the supply counter. So it swings and roundabouts, you know. Sometimes it pays off.
The campaign's kind of broken because you can't lose command posts. Whereas in multiplayer, the whole point is like you gain and lose command posts, and once you've lost all command posts, you can't even spawn in. You've just got to watch the enemy. It's painful.
I had a battle on Naboo that went down to, it was like 13 against 2 people. I was like, okay, I probably lost this, but anyway, it went down to 2 to 1. I was like, I can do this. They took over the last command post. I ran that, couldn't do it in the time. I was like, But yeah, no, when it gets down to low numbers, I care.
Especially in like a Galactic Conquest, when you've got a fleet which costs 1,000 credits, and
I lost 1,000 credits.
Yeah, you've gone all the way across, and like suddenly like you've got one guy versus like 10, and like you're just babysitting this one AI, praying that they don't die, because like you can kind of die and spawn like as many times as you want, but like the way it works is like there's a set amount of AIs in Galactic Conquest, so a lot of the time you're kind of just babysitting at the end, and like that's so much fun when you're just hunting them, and there's like you're a Jedi and you've got like the longest lifespan you can possibly have, and you've got like 20 dudes, and it's like it's fine just hunting the one. But like when it's just you and one, like that's tense, man. I don't know how a game from a first-person shooter or third-person shooter on this scale from 2005 manages to like live up. Like this game's better than fucking any of the Battlefield games. I don't know how that's even possible. Fucking what a game.
So Ethan, do you have any other problems from it as a game?
As a game, like the gameplay, not the narrative, because it depends.
Because I do.
I've got a couple. So I don't. Okay, right. Yeah, Hoth. Fair enough. Scale, big whip, right? Huh? The fact that when you die, you get spawned a mile away from the action. It's a fucking giant area. I don't want to have to run back because it's
turbine.
It wastes too much time. Your stormtrooper number just comes down to 2 bottom. It goes down 2 though, and then it gets me really, really angry, and and then when I die, it does. I have a short temper. I get that. But it does make me rage quit so much this game. In comparison, right, to, I'm going to say it again, right, when you die on FTL, I don't get mad at all. Because I've realised that I'm the one who made the mistake here. The game isn't fucking me over.
Yeah, but it's not
I'm the one
fucking
who made a
roguelike.
poor decision. And I can learn from that mistake. It's when you die in FTL,
you lose more and he's less mad.
It's constructive.
The way that
and I like that game, but with this, it just makes me even more mad the more times.
The way Hoth is structured, because it's different in terms of a level, and the way the campaign does it is probably the way the game's meant to have done it. And essentially, the rebels own all of the command posts, but you own the 2 walkers, which can do damage. Which is they are slow moving. This is fucking, you got 20 minutes. The whole point is you're meant to pilot the walkers, and you're meant to slowly, one by one, get to their command post, use the cannons to wipe them out, and then take them very slowly as you kind of make that push, just like in the film. I feel like, it's slow, but it manages more than any other Star Wars game I've ever experienced to kind of capture what it would be like. And the music from Hoth is so good, and the fact that just the simple details, like the stormtroopers are now snowtroopers, just the little stuff like that.
I was going to mention.
Little cute details.
For the tutorial,
you don't have to open a fucking loot box to get.
For the tutorial on Geonosis, you have like the first look of the clones, which is just on that map.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's
the little
that's a nice
details,
little
like
detail.
even like the silly voice lines that they always had so much fun making this game. They just managed to like make it feel like Star Wars.
But that would be impressive if the Empire Strikes Back didn't exist. That's the transformation from Stormtrooper the snowtrooper. They're taking that straight out of the film. That's not really fantastic, is it?
Yeah, I mean, but if they did something unique, like, it wouldn't be that interesting because it's not iconic. It's playing on the iconography of Star Wars. It's a Star Wars video game.
I don't think it's
using the license better than most licensed games.
There's no reason that a Star Wars game can't be as iconic as a Star Wars film could be. And I think, like, on the back foot of some really shit films, it would have been a great point to, like, say, hey, we're going to actually try and sort of do this from a game perspective and tell a game story in a way that fucking makes the other ones look bad.
The bits that you don't...
The game is marketed on playing the Battles of Star Wars, by the way. Just saying why it would be a very bad idea just to do nothing related to the films.
And the bits I've noticed you said...
Maybe it was a bad time.
Yeah, and things you said you've not liked is Kiri-Mundi because you don't care about him because, you know, what? He's not really in the films, is he?
I haven't seen the film, so to be fair, I just think he looks lame. It's just like, who thought this was cool?
And then not liking the bugs that drop in that are part of a story introduced in this. Like your problems are when it strays from the films, and then you're saying the problem is.
But it's like I would have liked it to have strayed from the films in the way that is good.
I definitely feel like at times it crosses the line, but like as giving like a kind of a supporting narrative, like the second mission you do when you're taking out like some ships, and the cutscene at the end where it's like our hard work and the deaths that we had let the Jedi come in and save the Chancellor, and that was our doing. That just feels like a cool little kind of moment. It's kind of like although it's not canon, but like canon is bullshit. Just make your own fucking canon. I like the fact that this game manages to tie a kind of a narrative towards those. And it's not like I have nostalgia for the fucking campaign. I'd never played this before in my life. I just liked the fact that I was playing Star Wars as a kid. But like I will fight for this campaign because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Although the Jedi fucking bookcases thing is bullshit because if you die once, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah,
Then
no
don't
second
die.
chances.
I feel like it is that section would like
if the bookcases had like 5 seconds more health.
They just get destroyed. It is impressive how quickly they go.
Especially since they could have easily just like ran the mission, stood still after triggering it, and seen that like, oh, they have like 30 seconds of unattended time to stop them. Like it's a really narrow margin.
I think it works better on the PS2 from memory because I don't remember that being as just. I think there are differences in like the PC version from that. I think it's got more units in at one time on the PC than it did on the PS2.
In the end, I just clone commanded it, just had the Gatling gun and just camped and prayed.
My favourite mission is the one on Camino, and I like the one on Camino because it's set on Camino, but it doesn't look like the Camino that we've seen from the films. All the platforms, they're more densely populated with them. It doesn't feel like they've just copy and pasted the landscape. It feels like they've actively tried to change it, make it look a bit more different, a separate part of Camino that we hadn't seen. Whereas every other level, to me, it was just like, oh, you're about to see in the film, we're going to take it, put it in here, and just put a bunch of stormtroopers in here fighting Jedis, and they know they're going to die, and there's not much they can do about it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but when you do it, I feel like we're completely the opposite. Cause, like, as much as I like that, I just have the fucking like really confusing like why the fuck is Boba Fett killing his father? Freudian analysis of it going on in my mind when I'm trying to play it. Like the mission, like I just love, I just can't get enough of, is the one where you do the breach at the start of the first Star Wars film. When you, because like as stupid as it is, like when you do that breach and it's suddenly like just everyone throwing grenades and there's just hundreds dead, and then finally when you get to be Vader and you just walking around like.
You talk about how Yavin was the one that was tightest for you, and I'll agree that was a tough level. But the one on Star Destroyer, that took me a few tries. Because,
the Death Star.
No, not the Death Star.
Tantive 4?
No, it's on the Star Destroyer. It's as A New Hope begins. It's the first.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Tantive 4.
Yeah. No, but I mean earlier you said that Yavin was very, very tight, and it was it was quite close. It was a quite close call. I'm saying that for me that level was the one on the Star Destroyer because that one took me a few goes. There's a part where there's like 2 men left. And you've got to go and destroy that turbine thingamajig, get something else, bring it somewhere else, go somewhere else, and I'm just,
My favourite thing is how the missions are always hard until you unlock the hero, and then you just kind of just stroll around, dismembering people.
Yeah. But even when you spawn... Sorry, Johnny, I just want to say something real quick. But even on Hoth, when you spawn as Darth Vader, when you spawn as him, you start a mile away from the action is. So, and it takes. I mean, he can just go. It takes him ages to get to the action. It's boring.
I mean, you can select your command post. You can't just spawn him right where the action is.
Wait, you're joking? How did you do that? I thought that when you die, you spawn where the game wants you to.
No,
spawn.
you click on the command post.
If you have a command post unlocked, you can spawn.
That's why I always make sure there's a command post. Okay, now we get your problem. You don't have to play.
I mean, to be fair, there is
That's
a
like
lot of
one problem.
there is a
The
lot
game
of
is
stuff the game
yeah.
does not explain. Like, what the fuck are the gun awards? You know?
Yeah, that's true. Like, I didn't know that as a kid. Like, but it didn't matter because like just.
Yeah.
This is my Ready Player One, you know. I'm playing Star Wars.
This is for nerds. This is Black Panther for nerds, Ethan.
You said it's for nerds. If you ask like pretty much anyone like in our age group, like what the games of your childhood, they're gonna say Star Wars Battlefront 2.
No, don't say Cooking Mama, something like that. So you think if we...
That's
Star Wars Battlefront 2 and GTA 4, like the common, like that was the and Call of Duty 4. They were like the transitional period,
Yeah,
you know.
Call of Duty possibly. Again, this might just be my ineptitude with video game history, but I don't think most people in our year would have played Star Wars Battlefront. Maybe the odd person.
People, especially like our year, maybe like slightly older, like the PS2 Star Wars Battlefront 2. This was the game. This was that like masterpiece shit, you know.
I think we need to get close to wrapping this up. We've hit the hour mark.
Christ. This is going to be a Wolf of Wall Street one, I think. That's an hour and a half. It's because we spent so long talking about the last Airbender at the beginning of it as well.
I don't mind having a bumper podcast. I mean, like I've got a lot to say about both things.
I
for
think,
better
I
or
think
for worse.
these are good contentious ones where it comes down to a side that both can argue their points, where it's just like, I guess we just disagree, you know, the other ones have been.
I admit it's entirely subjective, though. I think Ethan trying to review a game as a film is bullshit.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's more
for what it doesn't like. It very easily couldn't have had a campaign. But the fact that it has all these games and it has a campaign, which is good. It doesn't even.
I don't just play a game for the gameplay, right? I'm not saying that I review something as a film. I'm saying that I take what make films good and what should make video games good. Yeah. It's okay. You know why I don't think this is that great a game, because I've played Her Story. Her style is better, so that just puts things in perspective.
This is
talk about that.
This is hashtag the road to retcon.
I don't think. Well, this is interesting. I think games can tell a narrative in a way that is unlike films.
Yeah.
But I also don't think this is the best way that can be done. I feel like it could have been fully realised more in a way that isn't just be the film.
Yeah. I get that, but like I feel like through the gameplay there is a narrative. There's always like I'm always going to go to Galactic Conquest because that is the game for me. It's like are you occupying planets? You know, like how many credits have you got? How's your fleet doing? And just those clutch moments of like victory from the claws of defeat, or like just when you take 3 or 4 planets in a row and you get that leader bonus and you're running around as Grievous, you know, like with 4 lightsabers in hand, just slicing down these like stupid like Tamura Morrisons running around, and you're like, you know what? Were the prequels that bad?
Yeah,
I don't want a narrative that's come straight out of a film, but I do want a narrative that I feel like I want to be a part of and I care about. I just didn't get it.
You can make your own narratives, man. You can be like, what if the droids had won? And you can play that, and then at the end you get victory, and there's like a montage of like the droids taking over. You're like, this is fucking up. This is the best game ever made. The Imperial March starts playing for some reason. You're like,
oh man, in plans for Battlefield 4, Star Wars Battlefield 4, Battlefront
3. Battlefront? Do you mean Battlefront? Oh,
I think
there was a PSP one, wasn't there?
They were already planning 4 before 3.
Can't believe they never made a third one.
Yeah, but in one of them, their plan was to have an alternate story where Luke is evil and Darth Vader is good, basically.
That would have been cool.
That would have been.
That would have been like iconic in its own right.
I would have liked to see something alternate.
You guys need to just play Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
we should play a different game.
or Jedi Academy.
Yeah. I mean, they're also like coming out this year at the same time as this was Revenge of the Sith, and the video game of Revenge of the Sith, which has an alternate ending where it's like after defeating Obi-Wan, Anakin kills the Emperor and goes, "Now I am the master of the universe," and the game ends.
That would have been fucking sick. We should play Celtic.
Because this has an alternate ending where the Empire fucking just kill the heroes and half them they're just like, "Yep, we done it."
That's
not an alternate ending. That's just not
well, they kind of
you see Han Solo escape.
Yeah, but you don't. like, it's not like The Empire Strikes Back where the fucking, like, the rebel fleet escapes. You blow up the rebel fleet. You blow up everyone apart from Han
Blow
Solo.
up one ship you see there, you know.
Yeah, but that's like I saw that as
It's
being
like how
the
all
fleet,
the rebels can
the,
fit in the Millennium
the fleet
Falcon.
that get past the Empire blockade and escape, and then regroup for the attack on the.
But I've always seen it as actually, you know, there was still one ship that got past, and the film continues on as normal. But it's just like, yeah, guys, we won. Just the second Death Star blows up in the background. Didn't we win? Good, guys.
Also, I'd just like to say, The Last Jedi has a really cool thing that the fact that, like, because they know where the Empire knows where the rebels are and they're about to blow them up with the Death Star before the Death Star gets blown up, they 100% would send every ship they have to go and attack the rebels, which they do in The Last Jedi. And I was like, why didn't they do that in the film? And they do it in the game, you know. But the rebels are gone. They're fucked off.
I don't know how many I killed that day.
Oh, Tamura Morrison is great, but some of the lines he has to deliver are terrible. Like,
Yeah, I know the
it was all
dialogue's
for
bad,
some
Harry.
walking
You
carpets.
don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
I've got one last thing that I do like about the game, but I'll save it for when I give my personal.
Also, like, I don't like the way they do Order 66, because, like, the way I like to think about it is the clones aren't entirely, like, sentient. They kind of just...
Yeah, they have
The fact that they're like,
chips, Harry.
they're like, we didn't want to do it, but we spilled the blood of our brothers. I'm just like, what the fuck? This is really dark. I can't believe that I killed her, but I had to. It's like what the
This
fuck?
sounds like core.
He's to be racist. He's not Welsh.
Yeah, it's interesting what the Clone Wars cartoon does differently, since it
I feel like-
humanizes them all a lot more and then makes it so they're not aware of it.
I mean, if the canon was this, if like fully armed rebel stormtroopers broke out of cells with their weapons and stole the
An
Death Star,
unlimited number against like 20
and if some random stormtrooper had shot Princess Leia to death and gone knocked her out, yeah, it takes some liberties. But you know, it's a lot of fun. This game, it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Oh, I like
It
the
is
bit
fun.
where you
There's nothing
kill
wrong with
General
that.
Grievous. It's just like, yeah, guess he ran off.
Oh yeah, but the games have that. Like, you
Yeah.
die and then they take a knee and they're like, I must go now. Like, and they just disappear. They fade away.
My
They
favorite
use their
thing.
super speed.
My favorite thing.
You actually can use the super speed
Oh my god!
when you sprint as the Jedi. You fucking use it, Tony.
Oh man, one of my favourite things is if you die in the air as Boba Fett or Jango Fett, is because you just fall to the ground and then just take a knee very elegantly.
It's Django and he's brought his head. Anyway, should we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think we
We've
should.
got V for Vendetta to do.
That won't take too long. We'll just gloss over that.
Anyway, Johnny, do you want to conclude your thoughts? Because I've hijacked this and it's my pick a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you've talked me up. You've made me give it more than I was going to. You've made me realise how much I do love this game. So I'm going to give it a 9. You know, it's
Johnny.
It's not perfect, but it's from my child, and it's bloody good as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think for me this is definitely the podcast of like not being objective and being personal. Because this game isn't a 9 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Like Call of Duty 4 isn't a 10 out of 10, but for me it is, because I have that nostalgic connection to it, you know? Like, it's a very good game, I still think it holds up. And for me, it means something. Like, what you play, I can never play it how I experienced it back in the day, you know? But the game is still pretty damn good. I'm going to give it a 9 just for all those memories, you know? For all those, like, 12-hour Galactic Conquest sessions, you know, like across like multiple days, you know, sleeping over on the PS2, you know. Then someone would get mad, they'd pull the memory card out, you know. Like, it's just what a game.
I'm surprised the controllers for my PS2 still are the right shape for the amount of times I have chucked those around.
What a game. Anyway, the two Romans.
Yeah, it did sound like we were harsh, and I don't know what Ethan's going to give it, but I was only harsh because if I were to try and be nice about it, I wouldn't just be as well as you guys had, so I focused on
Oh yeah, that's it's like the old media podcast where you argue for an hour and then give it like a 7.
well,
That's just what I do. Whenever someone's like really passionate about something, I always like argue against it, even though I'm usually there with them. Like, it's a great thing, but these are problems with it, you know.
Yeah, that was me with Looper.
Anyway, yeah, sorry we interrupted.
it is fun, and I think I would draw the parallel to Red Faction, where it is the only thing that has done this thing as well as it has, and it's such a good idea, and yet because of that idea, you see so much more potential for it, which is almost sad in a way. Like, I wish its idea wasn't as good, so it could be shitty and I would be happier with it.
Yeah.
But it is fun in how it accomplishes is what it is. And I thought, oh man, 2005 games are almost bad now. So I go back and play it and expecting it to look ugly and run like shit. But it actually doesn't.
It does on the PS2 though.
Yeah, PS2 to be fair, but on the PC, on my shitty laptop, first of all, it's the biggest game file I have installed.
Oh yeah, it took me ages to fucking download on my laptop as well.
It's like that kind of proto Steam thing where it's not just like... Yeah, it wasn't designed for Steam, it was designed for like a disc PC game. The fact that it's even on Steam is impressive in itself.
Like most of the I downloaded a game recently that was like 50 megabytes. And this was like almost...
Oh wait, one last thing, the cover is a fucking banger. Just the cover, it's like the light side, the dark side, and there's that moral ambiguity of the clone trooper in the middle. Like, what the clone trooper represents, it's so good, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could give it a 10, but I can't. Because it's just, I can't justify 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, just there are moments where like a bit of clunkiness shows through, but at the core it is very fun and very very solid. I just wish it could be like it's like awe, you know, like powerful awe, and I just wish someone could refine it and make me thrilled, because that's possible, right, Ethan? And but appreciating it for what it is, there is a lot to it, and like I say, I wanted it to be iconic in its own right. But there are moments like when I saw the Death Star, and holy shit, the way the floor was reflective and like capturing the action of battle, I'm like, this is good. And like the moment I talked about like getting to be a lightsaber throwing man. First of all, why did you meet random fucking Jedis no one cares about? Like, why do you meet like Jedi Masters number 1, 2, and 3? Like, who fucking? But anyway, that's me rehashing old grievances.
The Rebels just have some Jedi for some reason.
No, but why are they just Jedi Master? Why are they just?
Would you like them to be given names like Dom Carver and?
Yeah, I can't believe they cut Yaddle from that kind of game. You know.
I know. But fuck, I lost my train of fucking general grievance. My general grievances, that's my joke, are easy to put aside and allow me to appreciate how much fun it is. And I think I will enjoy it a lot more in a more sandbox open setting. But for now, I will give it a 7 out of 10 that is pushing that boundary, and we will wait and see if it goes up.
Hashtag road to retcon.
No, hashtag retcon wars saved.
Hashtag ooh, retcon.
You guys done?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ethan.
One thing I wanted to talk about that I quite liked about the game is that there are so many video games that I have played other than this one where you're against the clock and there's a timer, and that's the time that you've got to do everything that you need to do in. And with this game, you did do that once or twice, but what I did like was the fact that what you're actually working against is not letting all your men die. There's a set number, and yeah, it does get replenished as you go into the mission. But I like that, and that's kind of the urgency that I get from the game that I really like. Secondly, when you talk about Call of Duty, and in Call of Duty you're playing as a small, tight-knit group, and you do care about each and every character.
He plays a camera with a gun. Drink a Mountain Dew.
But they they have funny lines of dialogue every now and then, and yeah, like I said, you really care about them. And I think I would have preferred something like that, where instead of playing as generic Stormtrooper number 5 and then number 6 and then number 7, you're playing as different Stormtroopers, and I like that, and then playing as those again throughout the game.
Would you rather have played as Ben Allround or the other names that appear?
Yes.
I also want
There's another all-round, I think.
Oh yeah, I killed him and
brothers.
his brother.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, so bad. I killed them with the same grenade.
The first Wookiee I saw was like, is that Chewbacca? And I killed him, and it was like killed Race Falvoid. I'm like, what the fuck?
Just like to say one more thing: the roll is shit.
The roll.
No.
The roll.
Anyway,
I don't even know what the button
keep
for
going
roll
on.
is.
I also wanted to say that another thing I like about this game is the aesthetic of it. Yeah, it looks really, really old, but if you know me, I just love old shit, man. One of the reasons I really like Super Mario 64 is because I feel like I'm playing as a part of history, and I do with this because it does. You're right. It does look clunky. It doesn't look that modern, And I really like that about it. I think that's why I like Silent Hill 2 quite a lot, because it does look like crap, and for some part of me really likes that.
It shines through at times. Like it's got a few things that are like a bit wobbly. Like, why do your guns have energy and ammo? Like, why?
They either have that or the other thing.
No, they have the overheat mechanic and reloading and ammo. It's man.
Do they?
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say, I think I'm just venting my anger because I had to pay £7 for this, and I had to pay less than £2 for her story. That's just one
Yeah,
last
but
piece of information I wanted to tell you.
That's like her story being massively underpriced because otherwise no one would fucking buy it.
That's probably quite true. So like Tony, I think a 7 is appropriate, and I'm going to give it that, and it's also not better than FTL.
Nice. I think we should move on now. To V for Vendetta.
Yeah, alright, so...
I would say keep it short, but this isn't going to be short.
The ratings go lower than 7.
Is it going to be an ambush? Is Johnny going to be just a girl walking down an alley at night and 3 fingermen are going to come out and attack her?
I shouldn't have spent too long doing my makeup. You know, that made me late.
Howl just comes down and saves Evie. They swap films.
Yes! No! I was thinking exactly that. This is the opening to House Moving Castle.
I can't wait to see
not as good.
Can't wait to see House Moving Castle in the next episode, 2004, which is after 2005.
Yeah.
The podcast we're doing right now.
I think you'll be a fan of House Moving Castle, Harry.
What about The Incredibles? Though?
I don't know if Harry will have the spirit for it though.
Well, I don't think it won't be. It won't be rooted in reality enough for him. It's too magical.
I bet I'll like it more than you.
V for Vendetta was
FTL.
It was
It's not her story.
released in the USA on
Just
the
like
11th.
two things that are like 3 times
Ethan, shut the fuck up.
On the 11th.
Donnie!
Yo Adrian.
It's not funny.
Released.
Great.
Released in USA on the 11th of December 2005, so it was just a 2005 film because it was released everywhere else in 2006 and later in Turkey. Read into that what you will. It's the story of a sort of mysterious figure resisting a totalitarian regime. And it's directed by James McTeague, you know.
Director for hire. It's not really his film, it's the Wachowskis.
Yeah, written and produced
Screenplay
by the Wachowskis.
Yeah, because they fucking did everything, and they just were like, we can't direct this film, so they just got this no-name director to do it as his first ever feature, and then he's done nothing since.
Yeah, well, it's an adaptation of something probably better that Harry knows very well, and the rest of us don't.
Nope.
But it's the sort of story. It's just resisting a state basically, and a rebellion, and not really a rebellion, but I don't know. I think it's a mostly well written thing against exploring the themes of resistance. And the sort of role of individual people in the sort of a whole massive thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go last on this one, so someone else can talk about it for a while.
Should we go good, bad, or should we just?
Alright, well, Ethan, I think you should go because
I think, Johnny, if you want to talk about why you like it a bit more, and then
I like it because I love the character of V, and Hugo Weaving does a brilliant performance of him.
I think we can
even from the opening the opening speech with him, with all the words with V and voila and little giggles,
The
and
alliteration.
the alliteration and the melodrama of the moment. He just captures you from that moment, and you want to see what he does. And what I find really impressive is the emotion of a mask that is just always smiling, and just how you can tell in the moments where it focuses on the mask how he's feeling, even though it is just a mask.
as a physical performance, it's really good. Like you can always tell it's him, and
Even though for some shots it isn't actually him.
you can tell when it's him.
Yeah. And you can tell when it's him when he's trying to be Rockwood as well, or whatever that.
Oh
character
yeah,
is
like
called. That is
the
definitely
character in the
Weaving.
shadow who just has the distinct like bone structure of Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, you know the guy who looks like he's been burnt by a fire. Yeah, definitely.
Don't you? So, Ethan.
Okay, alright. Oh, okay, alright. So, I want to, first of all, disclaimer, I used to really, really like this film. I thought it was one of the best graphic novel adaptations I've seen, and I wanted to watch it recently, and I did, and I'm glad that I did, because I now know the truth behind it. It's all thanks to this guy who made me rewatch it, and I was like...
You gotta watch things. You can't do all the President's Man.
Okay, yeah, very
It's so
funny,
boring.
very
I watched it when I was 12.
So, when I was watching it, for the first 15 to 20 minutes, I was reminded of why I like this film. I do like the scene where you see Beef for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very well done. Hugo Weaving is, like he is in every other film, at the top of his game. He's great at acting. And you're right, V's a fantastic character. He's very, very intriguing with the way he speaks, his vocabulary. He speaks with quite a high level of standing English. He definitely knows his stuff, and he's quite an educated guy. So he is like that in that respect. But what I don't like is when. So after Evie maces the detective, and she wakes up back in V's mansion. That's when the film, for some reason, gets worse and worse.
You get to criticise something.
I think it's very. I think it's very, very possible. I feel like this film had 3 writers. It had the great writer who did all of V's dialogue and all of those scenes.
Alan Moore.
Sorry,
Alan Moore, the writer of the.
I guess so. Yeah. There was a second writer who did pretty much everything else that was really average. And then you've got the one writer who's pretty awful, and he did all of the detective stuff, because they are by far the worst scenes in the film to me. Basically, the detectives exist, right, to deliver clunky and really contrived exposition, and Rupert Graves only exists to explain something if it's a bit too complicated for the audience, even though it definitely isn't. The other detective, I can't remember, I think he's called Finch.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he explains something, it's I wouldn't say simplistic, but it is simple to understand. It's not complicated. And Rupert Graves will be like, "Oh, so do you mean so and so, or what does that mean, Inspector?" And he's an unnecessary character, and I don't think he needs to be in it.
I mean, he's there in so much as for Finch to be speaking out loud to someone. There needs to be someone for Finch to be talking to. Yeah, but you don't even need him, because he's... I feel like if you wanted to find out about Larkhill and find out about the entire past, you could have done it in some other way that didn't feel so forced.
Yeah, through the fucking diary, which gets read out, which is the way you find out about Larkhill in the book, and the way that the film still has, but it still has this weird conspiracy around Larkhill as well.
And that sounds much better.
Larkhill is literally the things that are in that diary. That's what happened at Larkhill. You get told that straight away.
It doesn't help.
End of the first act.
The 2 performances by the 2 detectives, I think, are really, really not so good. And yeah, I don't think they carry it off well. Natalie Portman. The funny thing about Natalie Portman is that I looked back when I finished watching the film, and I was thinking, God, she's really great in that in the sequence where she's locked away in prison and she thinks she's been arrested by John Hurt and the Fingerman, when it's actually V the entire time. Yeah. And I was like, well, Natalie Portman, your acting is really, really good. This is how I remember you in most films. You are a great actress. And they realised, well, why is she good in that and not good in every other scene? Oh, because she doesn't really speak that much in that sequence. But every other scene that she has words in, her terrible English accent, it's just very, very bad. I feel like she was dealt a bad hand because she's a good actress, but the dialogue is really, really not great. And they've asked her to do an English accent, and she can't carry it off well. And because of that, most scenes just feel like her acting could be much, much better. So some of the lines, you know the one line, I missed that detective. Why did I do that? I must have been out of my mind. It's really, really bad. And she makes it even worse. And the part where she's like, you should have just left me alone. Why didn't you just leave me alone? Oh my God, it's laugh out loud bad.
It's slightly better than that. It's sort of...
No, it's
you've got to be caught in this web.
No, she is just a teenager.
She's just found out that she's being held prisoner against her will. It's somewhere that whose location she's unaware of. Her acting should be a bit more, kind of the essence. But she feels like it's really wooden. That scene. It doesn't feel naturalistic. Everything feels like it's already been rehearsed before. It doesn't feel like it's rolling off the tongue as well as Hugo Weaving does. He's by far the one saving grace of this film. And maybe he shouldn't have been given more. Maybe he shouldn't have been given more screen time. But I would have liked that because I love his character. You know what I love? There are two montages in this film. Both of them are good, but one of them gets spoiled later on. I'll talk about that later. But the one I really, really like is the one where the two detectives go and see Hugo Weaving, who's disguised as the person who we later found out to have been dead for like 20 years. Was he called Rockwood? I can't remember. It was Rock something.
Can't remember.
But it's a great
Rockwell
montage because it's the moment where everything clicks. You know, he tells you about his past in a way that the music is booming over it. It almost feels like a revelation, and it's a really, really good scene. It's like, and it just clicks with you, and you're like, it's all coming together really nicely. And I like that. And again, with Hugo Weaving, he's just got the voice for it. I love his voice so much, and it fits his role like a glove. It's perfect. And again, with the second montage, when the detective is talking about the revelation that he had, where everything kind of links together and it all feels connected, it's done for the better part. And again, with the music coming over, it's a really good sequence of the film. And then Rupert Graves goes, "So, what does it all mean, Inspector?" And he goes, "I don't know. It was just a feeling." And it was a really kind of grand, just really dramatic moment that was quite a poignant part of the film, and I feel like it was lost with that piece of crap dialogue from the detectives afterwards. They're good spoiling scenes. And again, I'll stop talking in a second because I have been ranting a little bit. But there is another scene with Finch where he's talking to, I think it was the prison warden at Lark Hill. I think so. And the dialogue, there's a line that he gives, and he's like an android. I mean, he feels like a genuine robot with a line. It's like, it's been omitted, terminated, and I just don't like it at all. There were a lot of things that could have been done, and I
think
was
that
disappointed.
line's actually well delivered there, because there's a rising.
Do you know
bit
what
of
I'm
anger.
talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Your records file have been omit. There's anger
that's the one.
behind his because he can't. This is someone who basically doesn't quite outrang it, but this is someone it's their territory, and he's following the book as he should, because that's what he's meant to be doing. And he's just reporting. Yes, I've been a bit, but you can tell underneath that there's anger there. He's going. You've done a shitty job, is what he's saying, or you've done something bad that you're covering up.
But then it also doesn't help with the
it's
fact that he only has one facial expression throughout the entire film, and that kind of that's kind of what makes it less good. In my
Almost as
opinion.
if he's wearing a mask.
Almost as if he's wearing a mask.
Tony.
Can I just say one last thing? Just one last thing, real quick.
Unless it involves you quoting dialogue, yeah, you can say.
It is like current dialogue. There are two things I love about this film. I think I've already mentioned Hugo Weaving's great. I also think John Hurt gives a really great performance. It's just a shame that the character he's playing is generic, angry, fascist stereotype, and that's kind of who he is. And because of that, I mean, they had a year to find V, and I know that V is very careful, he's very secretive. It is hard to track him down, but I feel like I feel like McCready. I keep calling him McCready. I think it's just Creedy, but I feel like Creedy could have done a better job, and especially with John Hurt on his tail every 5 minutes saying, "Oh, why haven't you done better? V should be in chains by now. You should have got him." And the Finger Men feel like they're out of it throughout most of the film. They never feel like they've got that much of a presence. They're kind of away from it all. I don't think he's that great a villain. It's a good performance. Like I've already said, John Hurt, he's good in everything, like Hugo Weaving is. And he's probably been in about 100 films, and he always plays his role to perfection, like he does in this. And again, in the scene when Creedy apprehends him for V to dispose of, that's a good scene. I actually disagree with you. I think that's a really good scene. I know you say, "Oh, it makes me hate The Matrix a bit more." I see where you're coming from, but I think it's a really, really good sequence. And John Hurt, he looks terrified because V's standing in front of him.
That's why I think he's always on the screen. He's always distant with his anger, but you could say he's not really present. But it works so well when he's then taken out of that screen and is now. I love the reveal of the bag off, and it's just him there on his knees, sort of crying.
Yeah, you're right. It is a really, really good moment. He thinks he's invincible throughout most of the film. He thinks that he's in charge of this country, can do as he pleases, no consequences at all. And it's nice to see the face of a man who is completely evil, but he knows that he's been duped. Because I can't think of a better word than duped at this second. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the film. I'll probably be, coming in every now and then.
All right, Tony.
So I know Harry's doing his classic go last move to make us exhaust our points, so we can't counter him.
I more just have a lot to say,
Alright.
and I don't want to kind of just
You're going to be talking about the graphic novel a lot, aren't you?
I'll be talking about both. I just don't want to tidal wave over everyone else. I'll give you the floor.
Okay, but But yeah, I hope I've left it ambiguous as to whether I like or dislike this film, because I feel
Certainly
like
have.
there's a war brewing, and waiting for the dramatic reveal. So I think this film does a great job of being like about this character V that is like so over the top, but he is so over the top. He's like over dramatic, like crazy. He introduces himself with like these rolling V's that we already talked about, and like it's almost like, wow, is this guy gonna change the world? Even though he's just a crazy man, you know. And it really boiled over at the point where I saw him flipping the pancakes or whatever, the buttered bread with eggs on them, and I was like, God, this is just a story about how this one person changes the world. And I was like, it's fucking great. It's incredible how magnetic his personality is. Like, I was always just waiting for the next scene where he would be in, and I think the distance you get to him, even though you see him in person, through the detectives, of realizing like how untouchable he is as a person. And I think the detectives, their scenes where they try and work out the identity of someone, are the best I've seen in recent history of films that I have been made to watch. We've got a rant.
Remind me how it gets done again?
What?
That's
in Departed.
No, not in the fucking Departed, and For Vendetta.
Which one? Well, were they just
The
trying
scene
to
we're just talking about when they realise.
Oh, well, they're trying to work out. Well, it's the fact that they don't work out his identity, because his identity didn't matter. And I love the theme that kept coming back up of he is an idea is a bulletproof. That it was so cool every moment he said it, because it was at the beginning, and it comes up as his like ultimate like super weapon move of just like, hey, I can like the fact that the government had control over the country, but every specific instance where V was there, he was the one who had the power, who could fuck everyone's shit up because he was the main fucking guy, because his idea was that powerful. And I think the idea of being about this sort of anti-fascist film is interesting to watch it now, because it's like that we had this with Silent Runnings, like how bad are things gonna get? And like I watching this, I was like, is it a ridiculous extreme? Because there's no way it would get this bad. And that was when like the it brings in the incredible like subplot of Valerie, and like how she's just taken away for loving someone, and it's like ridiculous. How would that be allowed? How would you let things get that bad? Someone in power, out of fear, just to abuse it that way. And that was the only thing that stood out as unrealistic. The other things, like, man, using fear to just elect some sort of monstrosity in government, doesn't seem that weird anymore, does it? You know.
But they don't use fear. They create a fucking virus.
Yeah, but it's about
Because
they literally
they're the
say fear
evil
in
bad
They
guys.
say fear in the film though, and in like the context of like weird conspiracy theories, like Bush did 9/11, you know.
Yeah,
it seems
this
ridiculous.
is Bush did 9/11 the film.
But it seems ridiculous, but it presents it in a way that the only thing that is unrealistic about it is the fact that the government would be so competent. Like, if this were real, they do the exact same things and also just be even more idiots than they were in the film. So the idea of they can't catch V, who is this like godlike, you know, embodiment of an idea person, is like, yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. The governments are idiots most of the time.
Okay, if you're talking about accuracy, which I'll give you that. Yeah, is that governments are meant to be inaccurate? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. But storylines should have main characters that never have the advantage or the upper hand for the entire film, and that's what V has. He's always one step ahead of them, and I like watching films where it fluctuates a bit more between the power shift.
It's because V shouldn't be the main character. The main character should be Evie, but the film.
No, Peter Graves should be the main actor. I want to see more of him.
The main character is
Rupert
Evie,
Graves. Sorry,
but the film centers on V, which is weird.
I didn't think Evie was strong enough to be a main character, and it's why I didn't want her to be, because I feel like, I mean, the sort of when she gets like changed by being sort of tortured, I'll probably go into that a bit later, but I think V was the more magnetic one, and I know Jono doesn't like this, but it reminded me so much of Code Geass, which is the 2 fucking season long anime about someone who is like always has the next problem in their mind. Like, you will never outthink them, but it's the problem of like, okay, they are good in that instance of any moment, but how do they spread that to like to change the entire country is really interesting to me. And like how it's always like building up to like the next big plan of like you trying to work out what all the fucking cloaks and masks and shit and all the bombs and shit are gonna do. It's great. It's I think it tells that story really well. I mean, I don't feel like the acting felt off. I mean, Evie was a bit at times, but most of it was solid, was fine, even good at moments. And I felt it was like a film of good structure with great scenes. Like God is in the Rain, when it's just Evie with her arms open, cutting between him when he was in the fire. I was like, holy fuck, this is cool. And
it's very great imagery of the fire and him yelling against the rain and Evie laughing.
Yeah, and I really like the moment where it's at the end where he talks about like, my time is done, you know, it's up for you now to make this choice about what the new world is going to be like. Because I've heard that from the graphic novel that a theme is anarchy, and I think it chooses to represent it in a different way in this film, because I feel like he was always someone who was focused on the short term of just bringing down the world as it was so that something else could come through. And that was interesting to think about as the film was going on, because it never felt like it dragged too much, just relying on you to think about interesting things while the film was actually boring in itself. But yeah, I mean, I honestly like was interested to see where you guys would come up as like really like flaws of this film, because I wouldn't say it's flawless, because that's just I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 by any stretch of the imagination, but I honestly don't see what's like a glaring weakness in any sort of part of it at any point. Like, fight choreography is good, action scenes are good, like monologues are good. The pacing is solid, like it never feels like it drags too much. And the idea of the main character and the themes of the film are interesting enough to carry a pretty solid film. I don't know where the big deef is. Big deef, that's a new word
I think
made
it
up.
could be about perception, because when I see this film, I feel like it's full of holes. You talk about the acting being solid.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, if that's your opinion, and I think it could be much better generally with most of the characters, and it's the same with the dialogue. And
I don't know. For me, it was like a good enough vehicle for the ideas of the film, because like when it keeps bringing up ideas of masks and coincidence, you're always thinking about how these things are going to relate to like the next scene and the next big move of the plot, and it does a good job of holding them up, in my opinion. Like, acting being bad, I don't know. Like, again, yeah, Evie probably could have been stronger. Like, I just have accepted the fact that all British accents sound horrible, so I don't mind when someone does a bad British accent impression.
But we are English, and we speak with an English accent. It sounds like we are English. She sounds like she's trying to put it on, and she can't quite get there. It doesn't sound right, and I think it actually falters her performance because of it. I think if she'd mastered that English accent better, I would have probably liked more of the things that she said. And it's only when she's not talking and she can focus on her performance rather than trying to perfect her accent that I think she, strives. That she actually, makes the film better. And she certainly does. I'll admit, you mentioned it, I think that Valerie's storyline is one of the best short stories I've ever seen in any film. It's really brilliantly well done. For like a 5-minute scene, it almost brings you to tears. It is that emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well done. Really, really well done, in fact.
Yeah, and
Valerie always makes me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Not the film version, obviously, but
so speaking of the film version, I think we need to hear what the actual problems with this film are, because other than acting, like I don't
Well,
really.
I've talked about what the problem. Well,
Yeah.
if you take away acting, you haven't got characters or development
Well, no.
or anything interesting.
All right, can I?
You have.
I think the characters are interesting in their own right. Like V is great. Like
I
and he's
like
the
what
star of the
happens.
show.
There's more than one character in the
And
film.
the detectives,
The
are like,
detectives have their whole little
I'll
thing, but they're just kind of following orders to start off with, and I like how Finch becomes increasingly more questioning about what he's doing, to the point where he just goes, yeah, no, I'm not going to do my job anymore, I don't agree with this.
Yeah, what they do with Finch is quite interesting, to be fair. I mean, but anyway.
Which is why I don't mind the detective scenes and the fact that there's just
Yeah.
a guy there to ask
Exactly.
questions, because I like Finch's...
I don't like the conspiracy they're finding. That's stupid. But
Sorry, what's that? What?
I don't like the thing they're doing, like this weird like virus conspiracy thing that's come out of nowhere because the filmmakers.
Yeah, but that's how he gets
No.
into government, though. That's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I know.
It's
part of
that
Yeah,
the
film.
but the filmmakers are afraid to just be like, oh yeah, people will just turn to fascism if they get
Well,
neglected.
But I mean,
Instead of
it's-
just like being like, oh, the evil bad guys administered the death cure to kill hundreds of children to
I mean,
seize control of the
but
country.
It's true that it shows that people voted for him out of fear of this event. Because the fact that it was fabricated helps to feel like it's a plan that has like this orchestra, behind it. But it is still about the fact that I don't know if in history it has the idea of like the great man theory, right? The idea that all like events in history can be traced to the actions of like single influential people. And I think this is like about that, about how like the world will just go to this, how the fact that like the world sort of slowly declined to this state and no one really stood up at any point, even though if they all stood up like at the end of the film, they could just decide that the world didn't have to be the way it was.
Not meant to be introduced. I'm still waiting in the wings. So.
You know who we are, Harry Coffey.
First of all, I'd just like to say I love this film. It's 10 out of 10, and I have no
Yes! It's been a ploy, Ethan.
Now I'm the
Tying you in.
contrarian.
All right, there.
Imagine if you had been doing that this whole time.
First of all, how to adapt V for Vendetta, you don't. There you go.
Alright, fair enough.
TV series.
Yeah, you do it as a TV series, an hour and a half each for the three distinct chapters, because there were 3 comic books put together to create the modern graphic novel. It was invented as an ongoing series, so because it was created with an ongoing series in mind, there are problems with the first book, because it's meant to just run and run. And then it kind of, the second one is kind of a course correction. But you can say that, like, my favourite film of all time is The Empire Strikes Back. There's a lot of course correction in that film. There's a lot of just like, Han Solo might not come back, so let's introduce this new character. Anyway, I'm completely getting off task. V for Vendetta is a book about, it was written in the 80s, in the late 80s, in the time when Margaret Thatcher had been elected, and it looked like she was never not going to be elected. And suddenly, like really strong, like conservative views were just in the forefront of British politics, and they look like they'd never go away. So it's written like by this insane Rasputin-looking anarchist, okay, and his mate, just on no money, like British Comics DC eventually pick up, just about a guy who fights fascism.
Mhm.
And that's interesting. This film is like, it's essentially about terrorism. It's about the Iraq War. It's a very thinly veiled allegory. There's a lot of kind of images about Iraq, and like especially in the montages, they always kind of use images that invoke that kind of like the Fox News and the newscaster. It's about that. Okay, if the Wachowskis, who are Americans, want to make a story about America, about like America's war, about America's issues with terrorism, if they want to make that, that's fine. Make it, set it in America. They made the Matrix. They can make their own original science fiction. Don't fucking bring V for Vendetta into this. You've essentially taken something which is set in the Cold War. The backdrop is the Cold War. Britain has survived the Cold. Essentially, it wasn't a Cold War. It was a hot war. Everyone's fucking dead. Britain turns to fascism, and then it's about essentially like an anarchist debating: is anarchy viable? Would it work? And he does this through a morally ambiguous character called V, who starts off a murdering arsehole and pretty much ends more or less the same way. But he doesn't really have any growth or anything. He doesn't have growth in the film. But what you do have at the heart of the story is Evie. And Evie starts off as a 16-year-old prostitute he saves in the streets. She's a product of the world and the environment she's been in. She's been tainted by all this kind of propaganda. She's a blank slate, and he wants to kind of talk about how you can take this girl from just nothing, essentially, just like very, very, very dumb, very stupid, very kind of opportunistic, and everything about, I'd say, the book, it kind of revolves around her. There's more interesting subplots than the film, and by the end of it, it literally ends with her becoming V. This moment, the V is dead. The kind
I
of
thought that's what the film would do.
the stalemate is that, like, if V doesn't show up, we've killed him instead of blowing up the House of Parliament. And V comes in. You get to see Evie invoking V in the first scene of the film, doing all this like kind of melodramatic and like being incredibly theatrical. And like when I read that, I just read it in V's voice, and the fact that like they take Evie from being this drone, this nothing blank slate character to being V is incredible, and I love her journey. I mean, the film doesn't do that, obviously.
I'm glad the film doesn't do that.
Well, the film she starts older, strong-willed, and ends older, strong-willed. The only difference is she suddenly lives without fear, which is like this kind of, as good as that section is in the book, and like because you're adapting it, you're gonna capture some of what made the original great. I don't believe it. When she suddenly she just lives without fear, it's like they've just kind of flicked a switch on her, and suddenly she's just a different personality. I don't particularly buy that.
I mean, she literally like stood death down and was like, okay, after this amount of time, I have accepted it.
Yeah,
and that's like, I don't know. I feel like it's all right. I feel like it makes sense in the moment of like it was waiting for the moment where where V was waiting for the moment where she wasn't afraid to die anymore.
Yeah, and definitely exactly the center of the book and probably the film, at the complete heart of the story. Which the event that kind of turns Evie is Valerie, and that sequence is so good. The film hasn't entirely given all the exposition yet. Like the book one of the novel does that. You know the world. You know pretty much everything. There's not this like big conspiracy. You get all that, and it's more about like what's V doing. V is the plot of the film. It kind of, I feel like the emotional weight of that Valerie thing is stunted by having to kind of tell you what happened very heavy-handedly. I don't know. I wish there was kind of less exposition and more of the kind of personal stuff. But still, some of that dialogue that carries over is still great. The voiceover is fantastic for that sequence. Actually, you've mentioned the acting. I think some of the acting is very good because essentially
from anyone other than V.
Oh, V's brilliant. But
no, I said, but from anyone other than V.
I feel like,
for example,
I like the supporting cast because it's essentially like these American guys are going, we're going to make a film about America, but we've got to set it in London. So they've just got loads of British character actors. Like, you've got fucking, Eddie Marzan is one of the people. Stephen Fry's in it playing himself. John Hurt's playing Adolf Hitler. You've got all these great British character actors playing caricatures, because obviously it's a film, they have time to develop all the supporting characters. But, so you've got all these guys.
Roger Allam.
Exactly.
Roger Allam's great.
Yeah, I do quite like him.
I know who he is.
I quite like his opening address on the TV. That does quite well to set up like the tone of the film.
I like the opening of V and Evie getting ready, juxtaposed with them both watching.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't. Every kind of thing that makes this film British, everything this is a quintessentially English story. The book, the film, it's just little quirks. It'll be like an actor ad-libbed the word 11+. It's kind of, the film starts, obviously they want to make it for American audiences and everything. The film starts with a very bad retelling of who Guy Fawkes was, kind of losing all the ambiguity of like that tale, but that's a whole other issue. V, he wears the mask because people aren't remembering the 5th of November anymore. They don't remember Guy Fawkes. They don't remember this kind of like this middle ground that you used to be able to occupy. Now everyone's turned to fascism, out of fear, which the film manages to capture in a really weird kind of contrived way, instead of just being like the backdrop of the film is the fucking Cold War, which makes a lot more sense. And I forgot where I was going at that point.
I feel like seeing it with the context of the original source material in mind is a bit troubling, because one, I don't think many people like V for Vendetta. Is it a famous graphic novel?
Yeah.
Are graphic novels famous?
Yeah.
Are other people like this would probably have gone to Odeon that's at cinema that anyone could go and see. If I wanted to get a graphic novel, where would I go? You know,
But Waterstones, any bookshop.
Waterstones is closed in Maidenhead area.
Amazon. There you go.
All right, fair enough. You'd have to go and import like some specialist thing.
I think sorry, just very quickly, where I was going with that point, which I can't remember why I was even making, is the fact that the fucking book is about anarchy, and the fact that the kind of key theme of the whole thing is anarchy. It's about anarchy. Like, at V, he doesn't. He blows up the house. He blows up the House of the Parliament, and then he meets Lady Justice, and he has a debate with her, and goes like, "You're not about like I don't care about liberty anymore. I care about anarchy, and anarchy is the only way forward." Alan Moore is an anarchist. Is anarchy viable? Fuck no. But he kind of explores that. He kind of, and there is the whole thing of blowing it all up so we can start again. They keep referring to the. I think it's a reference to an old book.
More than the building.
It's the land of do as you please and the land of take what you want. Are kind of like the two things like they kind of strive towards. Also, the fucking book, the second chapter starts with a song. Why did they not do this? Like, a book has a song in it. It has the music written out with the lyrics.
This is your main gripe, because you've said this to me so
many times.
Why the fuck
did they not do the song? It's such a good song. Anyway,
I do like the music they have for the film.
They do have a song coming out of the jukebox, so it makes a point in the film.
Yeah.
As well.
I feel like the score of the film goes from being very generic to being very powerful. I feel like
at the beginning I always forget to listen to music, so I did for a bit. Went, oh yeah, no, this is completely unnoticeable. Later I was like, I am digging this music. Where did this come from?
The choices of licensed music are good for like a modern interpretation of the story. The thing he plays when he blows up, shit, is good. The score when it goes "God is in the Rain" is good, and everything else I can completely lose. The sound design is terrible. I mean, like you say, it's good action. Like that scene where V takes out all those guys is one of the most it's to be fair, it's the funniest thing I've seen all year. It's just
Why don't you like it?
It's so ridiculous. Like
that's the point.
The fact that everything he does is kind of kept off, like the panel, you don't see him moving around like a fucking, like it's kind of like that. You almost get it so that it's like Batman. It's like that's their interpretation. They're like, what the fuck is this cloaked thing? Like especially in the early chapters, they're like, what the fuck is killing us? We don't know what it is. But seeing him in slow motion while the woo plays as he just starts slicing people, and the fake it's just, it turns a very powerful, poignant moment into something laughable. And the fact and I think the sense of kind of the fact that in the book it is just the detective who's been hunting him shoots him a few times, just shoots him, and he lives. Okay, that works because he says an idea is bulletproof, and that shocks him, and he lets him walk so he can kind of tell him that V is dead. But obviously you can't do a straight adaptation if you can't do the end of the book if you haven't done the start. You kind of get what I'm saying. But the fact that the film has to give it this sense of scale, has to make this big grand action scene for like dumb audiences. Trying to make everything bigger kind of fucking sucks. Like there's no point to it. They're kind of like there's a big enough world. You want to tell a smaller story in that world, which has like, it kind of invokes like a larger picture. It kind of acts as a microcosm. Yeah. The fact that the domino scene, instead of just being every the bottom right hand corner of every page is V laying a domino. You see him he lays about like 30 dominoes, and everything he's been setting up comes into play. Suddenly, like. He kind of creates a blackout, and all the leaders of the party, who I haven't gotten to yet, start to turn on each other, and suddenly there's a big reveal. V controls their system. That's how he's been doing it. That kind of justifies every ridiculous thing he's been able to do. And suddenly the dominoes come crumbling down. The film has to have this ridiculous like 5,000 domino. It kind of like it has to make everything even more ostentatious, even more ridiculous, and even more, I hate to say the word, Americanized.
I don't know. I feel like that the context of the original, like I was saying, is like almost limits the way if the film does a fine job of taking the idea as inspiration and then just doing the ideas in its own way. Like it could be about Thatcher and like all that and like.
Yeah, but do you think if you made like a story set in World War II and like it's about Donald Trump, it's a little bit disrespectful?
I mean,
like
I don't know.
It's like it's about the Cold.
Like people can do what they want.
The Cold War, but Iraq. They can do what they want. It's fucking shit.
I mean, I don't think it's. I feel like in that sort of reductive comparison, I don't think it will. I don't doubt that a way larger graphic novel could have been more subtle or gone into more depth. But I do think that the scenes in their own right did a good job of conveying the weight of those. Like when he's at the end, when he's just got all those guns pointing at him, and he's just like, "You don't have guns, you have bullets, and the hope that I will be dead by the time your magazines are empty." That is a great moment.
It's so cheesy.
No, but that's what you want. He is a performance. He is an idea, and that's more than the person. And I think that's what makes it really interesting.
I definitely feel like
really strong.
The V stuff, the V dialogue especially, is very hit and miss. Like, although Hugo Weaving's performance is brilliant, like sometimes, like also like having Evie and V kind of fall in love is kind of the fucking
I don't like that.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. See,
Yeah.
normal me would be against that because I hate false love stories more than anything in film, and that's like a certainty.
Like V is
But-
a
but
fucking
I think
arsehole. He does He kills people and does horrible things to Evie, and Evie doesn't particularly forgive him. She kind of accepts that and is willing to move forward.
I think that's unfair. You're forgetting the fact that he saved her at the beginning of the film.
Oh yeah, the film.
And she saved him.
Yeah, but
so they're already connected in that sort of relationship. Secondly,
The whole
they
like
spend a
man
really
saves
long
woman
time
from being
together.
raped, like starting a romance thing is a problematic thing in the first sense. But the film does make V a hero, which doesn't really work because like the things he does are shitty, and like you need the kind of moral compass of Natalie Portman or
Yes,
Evie
yes.
to hold up to that.
I'll agree with that.
So
But
them falling in love makes
the
sense.
fact is, they spend a large amount of the time together, just themselves. They grow to know each other really, really well. I can see love
Yeah, I
come out of
believe
there.
it. I believe it.
That makes sense. What I'll agree with you is it's certainly a film for modern audiences.
Yeah.
That just everything to the way the exposition is delivered in really kind of large, forced ways it feels sort of spoon-fed and kind of pre-digested, and it's like, you know, people nowadays like to go and see films and they want the plot explained to them rather than, you know, have it shown to them, and that's something I've always been off with. And I
feel like
see a
you
lot in
could watch
film.
this with a blindfold and like not miss out on that much. I feel like the direction is pretty flat. Some of the art design's good, like how they've just made the Nazis again. You know, like they change Adam Susan's name to Adam Sutler because it sounds more like Hitler, so it's easier.
I like the big screen and then the desk in the dark, and I do like
Yeah.
Mr. Creedy sort of just moving into the light, and then he just sort of moves back.
Yeah, I feel like because
I think he's a well done character, Mr. Creedy.
well, the thing with the obviously the books, one of the most famous thing about the book is the fact that every character is 3-dimensional. Like
Yeah,
one of your kind of main characters is Adam Susan, the leader. He's not Hitler. He's just a loser. He's just a guy who believes in fascism. He believes that's the way to take Britain out of nuclear destruction and like be prosperous. And unfortunately, his views come spread across the country, and there is this mass genocide, which is completely shocking, and it's told like. And then again, a very moving passage through the diary of the doctor that V kills. I feel like that moment kind of loses all the emotion away. I feel like there's
I think that was a good turning point.
but
because-
that's the one bit of love I believe. I believe that she kind of is in love with him in a weird way of what she created, and the fact that they don't really show you enough of that character for that kind of reveal that she's actually a bit of a monster to be kind of effective. But the detective hunting V in the book kind of is in love with her. And the fact that he finds out that she did all these horrible things, it kind of like that's the thing that's kind of that happens at the end of the first book, and his worldview is turned on its head. And suddenly he begins to question the actions of the party. Instead, they literally have the party killed children to get into power. I feel like a lot of the moral ambiguity is gone, for better or for worse. But get back to the original point. Creedy as a comic book villain is quite good. Because I like the actor who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Tim Pickett-Smith, and him playing just a complete like caricature is quite fun. That being said, like they have just stripped all the kind of the interesting
I'm
stuff
sure
away from
I'd
them.
prefer the book and the exploration of the things, but I think as a film that is kind of, I don't know, yeah, it suffers from the fact that it is a film. It's the Clip Notes version of everything, but
Yeah, but like I feel like sometimes they adapt it well. Like there's a really good visual way to show the themes of the film at the end, where they have the unmarked that all the people are V, and that's a really cool new thing.
I
And
like the
they,
big
they,
swing.
they take the masks off. It goes too far by having all the people that have died that take their masks
That's what I
off.
don't like. That's when it suspends disbelief
Yeah.
slightly. I really
But-
don't
well,
like
that's
that.
the fact
it's a
See
message.
Stephen Fry reveal the mask.
But
That's
like,
because it's they
It's-
were part
yeah,
of
but
the
that's when the
more-
film becomes Akira, where it just goes outside the realms of
I don't-
deity, and I don't
in
like
terms of
that.
abstract
at that point,
things,
it's got this ridiculous optimistic tone which it shouldn't have. That comes from we're making this like interesting piece of art, a commercial film for American audiences.
I don't know. I think the idea of making it more like complete in that way, like the idea of anarchy not being a sort of main theme, is because in the long term it doesn't really work. And I get that a massive book could explore that, but a short film just doesn't need to. And so it sort of focuses on the short term. Just take the
But
government.
do you not
out.
feel when you've taken like this isn't just talking about events, it's talking about anything. If you find a book and you're like, I want to do this book, but strip away the theme of the book and just use the setting, does that kind of like at that point, why aren't you just creating your own thing? Why isn't it even if it's just copying V for Vendetta, even if it's just set in America or whatever, if it is their own thing, I think it's fine. I just think it's a tad disrespectful to the kind of like a writer's legacy, or like it's not even an interpretation of the book. It's kind of just not doing the book.
I feel like that's fine, but that doesn't change the fact that the films stand on its own, and that's what I watched, and that's what I'm reviewing.
That's fair enough, but I can't disassociate it. And that's my review.
Yeah.
And if I was to review the film on its own, I mean, it's an adaptation. It's Watchmen. If you watch the film Watchmen, it captures the good. It's got the good stuff from the book in it. All the meaning's been stripped away, but it's still got that surface level good stuff. It's got the. I did it 45 minutes ago. It's got the monologue on Dr. Manhattan on Mars. This, it's got the great kind of twist that it was V holding them in, even though it's a bit more obvious in the film. Because you can't just draw like men and then reveal them to be like plastic. You have to have Hugo Weaving doing a variety of like English accents. But it's still got some of those things, but there's very little meaning there. Because the first time I saw the film, I was like, it's fine, it's a 6. But the more I've seen it, and the more I've let it settle with me, it kind of like it makes me feel a bit uneasy. And I'm not a huge fan of the film in general, to be honest. I think it's a tad generic. It's essentially like it's a thinly veiled. It's an action film with pretty much all the political stuff knocked out. But then you read all the IMDb reviews, which is ridiculously high on IMDb, and all the people are like, oh, it's more than an action film. I mean, it's got so much meaning. The domino montage in this is horrible. The fact that there is a guy just robbing a shop and then just screaming out anarchy in the UK, which is the worst scene, because it's like, not only are you not doing the theme, you're completely misrepresenting what the kind of theme is about. And it kind of takes this, like, it takes a very interesting concept and kind of dumbs it down, and it's so inoffensive. It's kind of like, who's going to be offended by this? Literally Hitler and no one else, because no one holds the bit. It's not challenging anyone's beliefs.
It is very clearly like, hey, the government turned anti-gay and sent gay people to it fucking
but
camps.
it kind of but why? It kind of strips away why.
Well, it says they were fucking religious fanatics at the beginning.
Religious fanatics who use the chemical weapons over it. I don't know, because the worst thing about the point is, people are like these guys, like they do use fear, but it's kind of like they don't administer the fear. It's not like, I don't know. The film is very conspiracy theorist whilst also trying to be uplifting. I don't know. I don't really like it.
I like the line of as Adam Sutler and is going, remind them that they need us, and then that goes into the sort of medley of all these different news reports of horrible things going on. I like that little bit of.
It is kind of
about them.
It's hard to adapt in the modern world as well, because a lot of it's come true. Like the image of a comic, the striking image of a comic of a street camera on every corner was like shocking. But like now, that's literally the world we live in. So you can't. That image doesn't hold any like
weight.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they got rid of the bit where the little girl just screams bollocks in front of a camera like loads of times, just to show how they're not being watched anymore. And instead, they have that little girl get gunned down and shot. Oh man.
I don't know. I feel like I'm glad that I watched it in this order, because then I could see the idea expanded on if I ever did want to read the graphic novel.
It's a different idea, but yeah.
But the character expanded on, or just more of that. But I also appreciate the fact that like adaptations have to fit their medium, and I think that when you're taking something on, and you have to keep. I don't know.
It's not adapting a book; it's adapting a comic, which is literally like shots of a film.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. I don't think you can just adapt a comic or manga into a film that way, because that really fucks up some things.
Yes, some things, but I feel like you definitely can do most of them.
There are some things that will work in one medium and not work so well in the other.
Like the dominoes thing. Yeah. The whole thing of like the repeated dominoes. Like just keep cutting to a close-up of dominoes is a lot less effective than just having it the same panel on every page.
Yeah, but in this one it was just setting up dominoes like a cool fucking YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly.
And knocking them over.
There's no meaning there.
It's
kind of gets. It's not something that V's created. Is it? It's not like something he's been building towards. It kind of just.
It represents the things he's been building towards.
Representing the thing.
He says very clearly, "Hey, this is what I've been working towards for 20 years."
He storms into the TV station at the start, which is why is that at the start and not at the end? The start of Act 2, because that makes way more sense.
So would you have preferred with you got the film right, at the end of every scene, just see him put one domino on the floor, and just that, and then there's the payoff towards the end of that great.
Well, I'll say what I'll always say. I'd prefer if it didn't exist, but
I mean,
I'd prefer it even if it was just like basic dominoes. Or if it can't work because you don't have the context around it, don't have the dominoes. Just have the the speech, which is quite poorly done. Because the guy that plays Finch is bad. He's not good. If we're talking about
I don't
performances.
think he's a. I don't
What
think he's a good
I
actor.
find the idea of creating him, making him like more interesting, and at the end making him make a choice is probably like, it's like the Fisher Price way of doing that character, but it's again, it's kind of just...
Yeah, the ultimatum that he gets faced with at the end of the film, when Evie's about to pull the lever on the train, is probably the best scene and the best piece of acting that he's ever done, because it's the one point of the film where I feel like he's actually conflicted. Whether he's got to decide between two different choices. Does he put his morals aside and, arrest her, or does he actually think this is what the world needs? We really do need this idea to spread.
I feel like
and it's a good scene with
that
him.
conflict is like set up throughout the film, like pretty solidly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
come on, you see moments of like it's
me,
beginning to like sprout that idea of like, hang on,
Yeah,
you want me to find V, but you also want to keep your weird secrets.
sure.
You know?
It's it could be done better, but yes, you're right. I do think that you are true. That's true, correct. Whatever fucking word you want to use. I think you're right. He does set him, or the film does set him up as
His
some sort of
opening
character
scene
that does
where he kind of looks down when everyone, what do they say? England prevails. He looks down when he says it. That's just like an interesting kind of way of just establishing that character. And then he basically does nothing until the very end. He explains the plot.
Yeah, I like but I enjoy the way, because he's the closest thing to someone in the cog in the machine that we follow, really. And so I don't know, it's nice seeing him getting more questioning as it goes along, because he does get more questioning. To start off, he's just got to catch this terrorist, then he's like, interesting. This isn't right. Am I on the right side? And I do like the conversation he has.
the baddies.
yeah.
There's a reason that the last panel in the book is him walking away. That's just him walking away, and everything's kind of in chaos behind him. That's kind of how. So he's a very important character that I'm glad they did, even though they didn't do him very well. My final point before I shut the fuck up, and it shouldn't be a film, obviously, but it does a very good job of adapting book one. And book one is essentially people are dying and they don't know why, and then they realise, oh, it's Lark Hill, and then you find out what happened at Lark Hill, and it establishes the world. It's V saves Evie at the start, and then goes and kills all these people, kills the priest. That's pretty much them shot for shot. Even though Evie's kind of, I think she's more of an accomplice in the book. She doesn't really question V as much. Also, Evie chooses to walk away in this, whereas V sends her away in the book. I don't like the choice in terms of the character, but it's a good choice in terms of like being believable, I guess. The book has this brilliant Act 1, and then they find out suddenly why he's been killing all these people, and they're like, he stopped. Like, is that it? Is that the end? And like, oh no, it's probably just the beginning. Book 3 is kind of what it's what am I talking about? It's nothing like you see, but essentially he, through various means, he orchestrates the governmental collapse, and it kind of becomes an anarchist state. The film misses book 2. It misses all the filler. It misses the chapter which pretty much, apart from the opening scene at the TV station, entirely centres on the supporting characters. It kind of focuses on the Nazis, why they do, what they believe, like their kind of conflicts. You follow like 5 or 6 characters, the heads of all the departments, the eyes, the mouth, the finger, like all like the kind of like the senses, and like the sensory bits of the body represent the kind of the workings of this government. And V's kind of, he's not really trying to disrupt them at the start. He's carrying out his own personal vendetta, and then he carries out the rest for the country. But for the kind of that filler, that stuff that obviously you can't have in a film because it wouldn't work in a film, but you could do in a TV show. Just like the padding out of the characters, like the understanding why, like relating to the core themes of the book through its characters. I feel like the film really lacks that, and it. You can talk about how it creates this like great world and it invokes all this stuff, but it's very surface level. When you try and dig deeper, there is very little there, apart from Iraq is bad. Essentially, are the kind of 3 words that
it has
summarize
the guy get executed for owning a Quran.
Yeah, Iraq is bad. Islamophobia.
Yeah, but it's I don't know.
And also, like, why the fuck is it set in England?
Well, the book, I believe.
Exactly, but if you're doing an American adaptation of an English book, set in fucking America.
Okay.
It's about America, by Americans, for Americans.
Oh, I forgot I was talking to someone who has...
Does that make it an anime, Harry?
Yeah. It's that argument, but different. Anyway, if I was trying to objectively review the film on its own, I'd say it's visually stunning. But I'm not going to do that, because it's not that good.
My feeling is coming on the film on its own.
Yeah, which
when
is
I
what
first watched it,
I'm
I didn't.
fairly confident most people will approach it without with that context.
And if I did the exact same thing, I just feel like Ethan does. I mean, like as a film, it's pretty flat. Some of the dialogue's poor, not great. All the acting's great. Surface level. Even if I wasn't looking at the book, I'd still think the themes that aren't really there. It's a bit ham-handed, especially with the dialogue. I feel like it's a very bad script. Visually, there's some interesting stuff, but you can tell it's a director for hire. You know, it's a bit flat. The whole thing just makes me feel a bit meh. And like the bits that everyone says are great, like the cool action scenes and the montages, end up being funny. I don't know. It's just
some part of me does think there's a bit of genius there though, because it's a bit like the Prestige in the sense that the whole film's a magic trick. Because you watch it the first time and you think that it's fantastic, and you watch it again and you're like, really? I'm not a big fan of this at all. So I just don't know. I'm desperately trying to figure out what made me really like it the first time I watched it.
Oh, because it's all surface. And I was like a 14-year-old, but that's so important.
But I wasn't even 14. I watched this film for the first time maybe 2 years ago, at most as well, and I really, really liked it. Maybe I focused too much on V, and you know how he's a pretty great character.
Also, this happens in fucking every time like someone tries to adapt Batman. And also Rorschach in the Watchmen film. V is not a good guy. V is a fucking V does some horrible things, and V shouldn't. I mean, ultimately, is it worth it? Yeah, but like it doesn't. The film doesn't really scrutinize V. It kind of gives him the happy ending. It kind of makes him like the guy that died for the noble cause.
Really?
Because he was a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think throughout the entire film, he's shown as a hero. And what I've liked to have seen was, as the film progresses, he gets worse and worse and more like.
It's the whole like Rorschach thing, like the fact that Rorschach's just a good guy in the Watchmen film, even though like Rorschach is just like, what if Batman was real and he'd be a fucking arsehole and a fascist.
I mean, from the way the thing is sort of pointed, this is Evie remembering this whole stuff, and the way she's doing it is, we're told to remember the event, not the man. This is me remembering the man, and her way is a bit to her.
But I don't believe that she'd fall in love with someone who just tortures her. You know.
But I still think she has a lot of respect for what he does, and that's where this comes from. Because I agree that V isn't a hero in this. He's a character. I like him as a character, but he's not really a great guy.
You know, like when you watch that Stephen Fry TV show.
It's so funny and good.
It's a terrible TV show, and like I get that's what they're going for. But like having to watch terrible TV is still having to watch terrible TV, satire or not.
Funny. Exactly. You watch it and it's funny.
No, it
comes out in a serious film about anarchy, and you just see that's what it's for. That's what all of anarchy or all of taking down the government is for. It's so that you can poke fun at things that don't matter and not have your life be in danger.
I love the idea of comedy taking down dictatorships.
It's all right until it starts playing the Benny Hill thing.
No, that's what makes
and
it
becomes
way better.
a Looney Tunes sketch.
That's what makes it way better.
No, because before then it's quite an intelligent. It's, you know how you like satire. Oh, we're poking at this, but you know, ironically, that's exactly what it was doing up until then, and then it just becomes a piss take, and that's not clever satire. That's not intelligent anyway.
Also, I can't believe they found John Hurt's drunk twin. You know, from the Prestige. John Hurt leans in and goes, I use a double.
I think we really need to wrap this up. This has ticked over into 2 hours. So.
Fucking hell, really? We spent that long talking about this film?
Spent that long talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. well, I guess we did, because someone wasn't too keen on Iraq, were they? So I guess we did have to spend quite a long time talking about it.
I mean, I'm gonna fight for this film being bad. I'm gonna fight for Star Wars Battlefront 2 being good.
I think Tony's going to give it the highest score. Possibly. Let's start with him.
Wow, okay. So yeah, the idea of the things being surface level, right, is because I think is interesting, because I think most of the interest of this film comes with is interesting ideas presented in a good enough way. And like surface level,
but there's a limit to that, surely.
Yeah, well, it's a limit. It's called the 2-hour runtime of the film.
It's called 7 out of 10.
And I think it's fine, because it's like, well, do you want it to be like a textbook about what anarchy is? Like, what more do you really want?
I've said I don't want it to exist, or I want it to be a TV series.
Yeah, but
and as a film,
I don't want
even
it to
if
exist is not a constructive criticism, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the most constructive.
It's a deconstructive criticism.
Yeah, but if it didn't exist,
So
it wouldn't
Tony, sometimes you have to tear it all down to build it back up again, okay?
Yeah, but you just want to tear it back all down so you can go and read the graphic novel again.
if it
I
didn't
wish.
exist, there wouldn't be anything there, and we'd be forced to give it a 0 out of 10.
I wish.
Yeah, like it is watching it. Like I don't know. I feel like people rag on the idea of something being a consumer product as bad, and I don't think there's anything wrong with taking like interesting ideas about sort of like subtext of or what the government being fascist and like or maybe themes of anarchy and tearing everything down, etc., and presenting them in a way that is actually enjoyable and people can just go out and watch and think about as they're watching it, because it's not just an action film. The studio could have made Fast and Furious fucking 27 if they wanted to, you know, but they chose to adapt something because the ideas that are given through the character and through the world are interesting and help to carry the plot. And I think the plot is also engaging in it's this mystery unraveling you. I love the moment when it feels like he goes to fucking the place north of where what's it called?
Larkhill.
Yeah, that place. And he's like, he goes there and he says, I could feel everything coming together. It's great in that way.
Yeah.
Does he go to Larkhill, the detective?
Yeah.
I believe he does, yeah.
You've seen this film like 3 times.
Yeah. In
Yeah,
the
I
last
know,
month.
But like the reason is, don't worry, it's just I don't want to go about the book too much. But like the fact that him going to Larkhill is like he like kind of understands V then suddenly. But he has to take it. He takes LSD to do that.
Tell me.
But,
Harry,
then he
It
realizes
sounds like the
he's in
film
Victoria
also
Station.
is just a bigger scope, and that's fine. But you have to accept the fact that this. Fair enough. You could just say the film shouldn't exist, but accepting that it is a film of that story, then it has to do it in a certain way, and it does a good job of that, in my opinion. I've gone on for too long. 8 out of 10. Let's move on.
Let's make our way down then. Johnny, you go next.
Yeah, so I'm torn between high 7, low 8 because I feel like it. Similar to Tony, I feel like it is more than what a lot of films are in the sort of action sense and all of that. And I do like the world it presents, and there are a lot of very quotable lines that stick with me. And I do like the story of resistance in it, and the way it's sort of told as this massive movement near the end that's sparked by this one person. I think I'm going to give it a high 7, but yeah,
You betrayed me.
but yeah, it's one of my favourite things to come from comics. I'd say I'd rate this above a lot of the MCU films.
Yeah, I mean the MCU.
You're coming at me now.
I don't really like the MCU that much, but I think pretty much every Marvel film is better than this.
Marvel do a great job of like being like you know this like one core idea. We're just going to put that in the real world. That's kind of what they're.
Yeah, for me, Marvel's just trying to be an action film, and it does that really well. So, well, I don't want to try and jump on your feet or anything because you are reviewing the film. So I'll come back to that in a minute. And don't worry, you carry on what you were saying.
Oh
no, you gave it a score, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll keep speaking then. Sorry.
You want that gradient, Ethan. That y = -x.
I think Harry would ruin that anyway.
+8.
Yeah, I think you probably would. So,
What are you talking about? I'm going to give it.
Please give it
I'm
a V
Ethan
out of
O'Brien.
10.
It's a piece of shit. 6 out of 10.
Please give it a V out of 10.
That's quite good. What was I going to say?
Something wrong.
So, my least favourite thing about this is that I just don't understand where it came from, but I had a really good memory of this film, and I was really disappointed when I rewatched it. I'm so glad that I did. I don't like living. I don't like living
one
and being
less
wrong.
good film in your mind.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really have a problem with the underlying themes of the film. I think they're done rather well, actually. The whole anarchy is an idea. I think the film does that just fine.
I mean, the film's not about anarchy, but sure.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so
The film's about not liking Nazis.
yeah, but the film is about.
I want to keep Ethan.
Yeah. So, what I would like to have seen more of is V not being shown as a hero throughout the entire film. He's always conveyed as the guy who has the moral high ground. You know, he's always the man you're rooting for. I'd have liked to have seen a bit more conflict there. I think as the film would go, as the film went on, I'd like to have seen him question his ideologies a little bit more, because some of the things he does, they are terrible. I mean, he's not a perfect guy. And I would have liked to have seen him think that, oh God, I'm just becoming Adam Sutler, aren't I? and at some point
does
reverse
at the
that.
end because he
and
says
that's
to
when he
Evie,
accepts it's
"This
all
is
over.
my world has come to an end now. You know, it's yours," and then sort of goes on to.
But
to
I think
say
that's
that.
just because he's fulfilled what he wanted to do, rather than because he sees himself as a villain.
He changes how he sees himself when Evie comes along. That's when he says he starts questioning himself.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I see what you're saying, Ethan, about a character should have flaws, but I also think a character having like 100% conviction in what they believe is what can drive a story. It's like it always like is the engine of the film in a way. It always pushes it along. The fact that he always believes in himself. Like there are two different ways you could do about it, and there's strengths to both.
See, I think it comes more. Obviously, a character needs to be very well developed, but I think that if the actor's performance is good, and then you believe the character, and that's what it comes from. And I think Hugo Weaving does a great job. John Hurt's acting is better than the character he's playing. He's that kind of a guy, and I think the rest of the cast they just. I don't think they. It's difficult to be as good as those two. But I don't think they even come any close, and that's kind of. I'm not a big fan of it. What?
Remember, you gave Redline a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, but I like Redline more than this.
Oh, okay, then continue. I thought you'd like it more.
Yeah, no. Redline does some things pretty well. I think this is just average on most things, apart from again a couple of really good performances. That's basically it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
V out of 10, Ethan.
Yeah, V out of 10.
Yes.
Apparently, there's a V in every shot or scene or something like that in the movie.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, I like to call it V with. Oh no, fuck it. I just ruined that straight away. Don't worry, just done it something. Go on, Aaron.
So Barry, what do you think?
Man, I can't wait to retreat to my shadow gallery after this, so I can consume brilliant culture. And it could change the world. Anyway, V for Vendetta's a pretty good book, and that's about inspiring one person. How that can change a nation.
John didn't pick the book.
I'm going to give the book a 10 out of 10. As for the film, it for an adaptation, it's probably it's pretty quite low down on the scale, but like a lot of adaptations are pretty average, But like again, there are some interesting adaptations where people take different approaches and they work for people. And fans of the book may hate them, but people who haven't read the book may love them. And like, there's lots of different ways of doing this. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I don't like this, because like obviously, like, I'm not going to be like objectively the film's like the reason I don't like this is because I really like the book and it's not the book.
Did you read the book before you watched the film for the first time?
I did, yeah. But whereas I'd forgive something like Watchmen because it captures enough of that essence of like what makes the thing great. This really doesn't. It feels like something completely different to me. And of course, when you're adapting something, you capture some of the stuff that made it great. There's some great moments. There's some great scenes. I can see why it's a popular film, but for me, it doesn't work. And I'm gonna give it probably a 4 out of 10. If I was reviewing it for publication, I'd probably say it's like a 3 stars, like a 5 or like a low 6. But like for me personally, it's rooted on 4.
Fair enough. And is that where we leave?
I think it's about time.
I want to ask one last question.
I've lost my ears from these being clamped on there for so long.
If you're adapting anything, whether it's a graphic novel or a book or just anything,
Watch the film adaptation.
Do you think that it's better to stay true to the source material or try and do something new?
I think it's true to write down the theme of the book or whatever you're adapting, and just every time you write a page, just look at that theme and go.
I think if you pay for the fucking rights, you can do whatever you want. I
think I might pay for the rights for this film and then just like remake it and make it about like so completely different. It's about a gay ice dancer.
but
You're nice.
Harry is right. If I ever wrote something that was as good as the book and someone came along and butchered it,
I mean,
into a film,
you
I
then
wouldn't be
wouldn't
happy.
sell the rights to it, right? And
I guess that's
they
true.
must have.
They
either didn't want creative fucking control over it, or they were just happy to sell the license on.
Alan Moore got fucked over, by the way. Like he just kind of signed a contract, and they were like, this will get your book out for more people. We own everything.
But it's like so.
Should have read the fine print.
His name's not on the project, by the way. Also, the artist loves him, so just
Stephen King wrote The Shining when Stanley Kubrick came along and made the film. He let him make it, but he still wasn't a fan of the final product. So. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Even if you think something's got potential and you let them, make a film or whatever, if it doesn't come out as you would have liked it,
a creator who hates his creation.
I don't remember this part of Ready Player One.
Right. Should we just move on to like a happier episode?
I think the Important thing
Let's
when you
move
have an adaptation is you should have a budget on par with your name. And
Do you know it has a budget higher than your name? Maybe it's the same, maybe it's lower. The Incredibles!
yeah, so the
Should we spin the magic wheel, or are we just forgetting about that now?
We haven't spun the magic wheel since 1955, man.
God. Alright, so remember the 2005 year after Christ.
I hope I forget it.
Oh, you will,
it's
Harry.
mine.
This is so long.
I picked the Invisible. Wait, what? The Invisible. The Incredibles, and the Studio Ghibli film Ponyo. And because I just picked 2 Studio Ghibli films in a row, I didn't even realise that, but they're both good. So let's talk about them next episode.
You picked House Moving Castle, not Ponyo.
What the fuck did I just say? After Ponyo, I picked Howl's Moving Castle. God, we've been talking for too long. It's time for us to clear the stage, to blow ourselves up, and for the new wave to come through. Because anarchy for an entire thing would just get a bit boring.
Anarchy in the UK!